I have a bad feeling. Okay, we are live. So, welcome everyone. First podcast for the channel. Today, as you can see with the title, this is the Road to Shin Megami Tensei V podcast. I am your host, David, and I'm joined today with two guests that you've seen on the channel before. I'll let them introduce themselves. So, we have Krischenn. I have a bad feeling. Okay, we are
Hi,
live.
what's going on?
And we also have Katana Rikku.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Thanks for inviting me, David.
Well, thanks for coming to the podcast. This should be an interesting one. We have a bunch of interesting topics that we want to talk about, and I'm sure that you guys will like it. So just before we start, I want to give you guys an overview of what we are thinking to do for and what we're thinking to discuss for the podcast. Obviously, this is mainly focused on anything SMT and SMT V, but we will also go a bit off topic with like video games in general, and also for a few questions, and also with anything Atlus in general as well. So if you guys have any questions during the stream, the chat is open. We'll see your questions. Don't hesitate to ask anything, and we'll try to answer as soon as possible. So do you guys have anything that you want to talk about first? Of course, we had a bunch of announcements recently, so I'm sure that you guys have a lot to say.
I really go ahead. You go ahead, Christian.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, first off, I definitely want to talk about like the newest SMT V trailer. I just want to talk about like general like how we thought about it, our thoughts on like how it's gonna go from what we've seen, and just like what we expect from it.
Any thoughts?
Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll go first. For me, really, I think it looks great. I really do think it looks great, and like it has like the similar art style as Persona, the newer art that's featured in like Catherine and all that kind of stuff. I really do just like, I started off in SMT 4 and just seeing this game like really blow up into like the HD era and just seeing like all these new, like these demons and all that. I'm just surprised to see how good it looks coming from the 3DS.
I was amazed, honestly. At first, did you guys think about that before? Like I was thinking, like okay, they're using Unreal Engine 4. This is the first time that we're seeing SMT in HD. How will it look? Will it be like a Breath of the Wild scenario or like a Pokemon Sword and Shield scenario? So will it be really impressive, or will it be like a HD 3DS game? So this is what I was thinking. So when I saw the trailer, I was blown away. But anything that saw the reaction, but that was really impressed. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I figured like I don't think it could. I don't know how you guys feel about Pokemon Sword. I'm not like a huge fan of it. I kind of was like disappointed, but I definitely, if you were to compare it to like either Breath of the Wild or like Pokemon Sword, definitely is more Breath of the Wild than anything else because that game looks fantastic and Pokemon Sword looks like a Nintendo 64 game at some point. So.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. It's really. I bought it. I actually did buy it, but since Sun and Moon, I've been a bit off from this series. But I still bought it since it was like the first main console real title from the series. So I still bought it. But same, yeah, I'm not really. I don't think it's a super good game. At least not. It's not for me. So.
Yeah, that's actually the first like. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just gonna chime in. If anything, I think they focused more on the graphics than enhancing the experience of Pokemon itself. They like have the entire experience just to boost the graphics, and honestly, it didn't really hit the mark in my opinion because I played it a little bit, but I didn't keep it.
Oh, same, exactly.
Yeah, I finished it and then I returned it. So
yeah. Oh, you did. At least you finished it. I did not even finish it, and I bought the. That's crazy, but I bought the Switch Lite, Pokemon edition with the game. What a mistake! I could have bought that Raidu game that we were talking about for that amount. So, but Krischenn, any thoughts about the trailer? How did it look to you?
Definitely. Yeah, honestly, I feel like when I made my video 2 years ago about what I expected the game to look like, I was referencing it based on Persona 5, and I think that was one of the biggest mistakes. In fact, that mentality carries over to a lot of my Mega 10 experiences, but SMT 5 in particular, when I saw it, there was this 1 second of like graphically, there's 1 second of okay, that's definitely not what I expected. And in my head, I saw SMT4 Apocalypse. But then I just remember, like throughout the trailer, it kind of started to hit me that this was them taking an unusual step, right? Like in the graphical direction, because looking at everyone else's reactions, the only thing that they can say about the graphics outside of it looking better than its last game, SMT4, was that they didn't like the way the protagonists look. But when you do take a better look, And taken from, I think it was Johnny Awesome or John Awesome's video, he did explain that the character looks to take from the SMT aesthetic, like the old SMT aesthetic. But I mean, it really depends on what era you grew up with SMT. Like Riku said, he started with SMT 4, and he can base his the SMT 5 protagonist look based off of Nanashi. I can base his look off of Nanashi as well, but I do see that the character takes from some of the aesthetic, like the skin tones, which was something that I talked about in the last video of mine as well. The skin tones, the eyes. I think the game looks good. Is really what I'm saying, but it's not. It's its own thing, and I'm glad that this is kind of like Nocturne, where the game went into a direction that it wasn't expected to go in, but it might be good, and it can be good, and I think it will be good.
Yeah.
Story-wise, if you guys will let me segue to that already.
Of course,
right?
of course.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
go.
glad. It's impressive to know that they are trying to make a game with so much influence from other games, right? They said it was going to have a SMT4 based story, right? Am I correct on that? And
Yep, and they also said that
based gameplay. But then the style of the game looks not to borrow from any of those. In fact, it probably borrows from Apocalypse the most. So a game that looks more like Persona, that plays more like SMT4, I mean like Nocturne, and has a story more like SMT4, it means that this game is going to be probably unexpectedly GOAT,
Yeah.
right?
You're
Because
pulling
it takes
from
the best.
Yeah, pulling
Right.
from like two games that people just love, SMT4 and Nocturne. Like Nocturne being like the one that people look the most fondly about. A lot of people I know, and if you just pulling them all together, it's like the best of both worlds there.
They're pulling the best parts of all these games as well, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I can't wait to see what they have in store, because honestly, I think the possibilities are unlimited.
There's a lot that they can do with it. We don't know it a lot yet, so we can only speculate, but everything that you said, I have to agree. Like the aesthetic, it really it really feels like SMT4 to me, at least. But there's a few things, like I think now's the right time. I need to ask you guys a question, but you guys probably watched the trailer multiple times, right?
Oh yeah, I've watched it like 50
Yeah.
times.
What a
point.
stupid
Yeah,
question,
on my
right? But now the question that I want to ask, and I know that you guys like music, right?
Yes.
The question is SMT5. The cat is Shoji Meguro or Kazuka for the soundtrack.
Oh man,
Oh
it's a
man,
really hard decision, man. Like
I had a question. No, like with what we heard, if you had to bet, which one is in charge?
it sounds like Kozuka more than Meguro, in my opinion.
I was definitely gonna say that.
Same.
And when I listened to your video, Riku, I think that's when I better understood it, because I'm an avid listener, but I'm not really. I don't think I've ever separated the two artists in my head. Like, I know they've done different games, but the sound has always been great to me, so I've never really segregated it. But
It's
Riku
always
did
great.
explain in the video, how the music is done by which composer and what it sounds like. And I do agree. Looking back, I did listen to the soundtracks again, make my own comparison.
It has those SMT4 vibes from the short bit that we can hear. That we can hear. It definitely sounds like Kazuka to me, at least. That's what the feeling that I had as well. So I'm glad that you guys are you think I'm right with that. So.
Yeah, and if it really is Kozuka this time, I got to hear like the battle theme, because he went in on SMT4, man.
Yeah.
I swear, the
Yeah,
boss battle
it's those
theme.
dark,
That's
those
what I was
dark
about to say.
choir sounds, man.
Yeah,
It fits the
I didn't
atmosphere
know.
really well.
No, you're good. But yeah, man. I mean, honestly, you can't go wrong with either one, Meguro or Kazuka, because they both do really good music. Like obviously, Meguro did good in SMT Nocturne, and I really enjoy the soundtrack in that game. But SMT4 just sounded so different, and I'm like, bro, I really like this. I hope this vibe continues in 5. So
It's going to be amazing. So that's for sure. I don't have anything to worry. Like I did a video on my wishes for SMT5, and I was like, I wish that we'll get good music, but I'm not too worried. Like we'll get good music, I'm sure. I had
SMT good.
sorry, no, you can go ahead. It's just that we have a question that I think is worth answering in the chat right now. So once we could go ahead and then
Okay.
we'll check it out.
I was just gonna say, like, I've never like played. I haven't played all the SMT games, but I've listened to most of the OST from the series, and none of them have bad music. So that was never a worry for me. Like SMT5 having bad music, no way. That's
Exactly.
it's not possible. It's impossible.
And I never played like the original SMT game. I don't know if you guys did on the Famicom.
I have not.
I've not played
No, I
it, but
haven't.
I'm listening to the soundtrack really often. Like this is how good those games are. So, but hey, the question that we have here that I think is it's actually one of the questions that I had. So another reason why I think it's a great question. Like it's from Kazushi Suda, and he says, "How would you guys feel if the demon that came from the SMT5 protag was Demifiend or Akira from SMT4 or
That
Akira?
is a
Sorry."
great question. I would love to take it away because I was thinking to ask a similar question. So first, it's a two-parter. So let's start here. I I would be glad, but I also wouldn't be because that makes the game that would be the first time Mega 10 like canonically crossed over with another mainline, and it kind of makes the game easy. Like it makes the game when you have a new characters like a new cast and a new adventure, that's a Mega 10 staple. That's a mainline staple. And I think when you have to build characters, it's easier to build characters from scratch rather than copy paste. Like Demifiend, that god would be one of the main characters in the game. He would be the Dagda to the protagonist in
For
that game.
sure.
And I wouldn't like it if Demifiend came for a whole nother run and was literally the protagonist's sidekick. We know Demifiend, we've seen Demifiend, Guy Rage, Javelin Rain, all that stuff. We know what he does, we know who he is. And honestly, I don't think he'd be an interesting supporter of the protagonist. My other side of the question. Oh, actually, I'll let you guys go, and then I have a question based off Demi-Theme being in the game.
Okay, well,
Okay.
there's just one thing that I'd like to add with what you said is that you tackled it with will he be like a character like that will be super close to the protagonist, but what if he's just in the game but he's not doesn't necessarily have an important role, like just a little wink to the older fans that play Nocturne, like just to like
Be like the Nozomi.
yeah, just like another character that we can see that whatever his role is, but just for him to make an appearance, because I don't have what he says in the trailer exactly, but there's something that this like Demifiend looking dude that fall from the sky says that is really like it there's a bunch of theories about his that Demifiend that we saw. So do you guys remember, I don't have the name, but he says something to the protagonist when he reaches to him. Do you know what I'm
He
talking about?
It's I know like he's like it's
to
basically
choose
like
your.
yeah
He says
like to
what? Sorry.
choose the I can't remember. I gotta look it up again. I
I'll
know
look it up.
I
But there's something that he says that I was like, oh, that sounds like I have it right here, but I'll quickly check it out. But there's like I think there's a possibility that this is that might be him actually. What will be the road? I
Oh,
don't know.
I think I know what you're saying. So while
Mario.
Rico actually looks that up, was it like more so about which world, like what would you create, which world would you create, kind of thing?
It was
Was it that? Oh,
choose your destiny.
Follow your will and choose your
Oh,
destiny.
replay.
Exactly.
ah, there we go.
And there's another thing about that segment that I want to just to follow up and to end my part here. It's that when they touch their hands, it feels like it feels like a demon fusion in a way.
You can actually see the protagonist kind of like there's a light that kind of covers him up, but it cuts away at the very end. So it could be something like that. I really do expect like him to transform like Demifiend did.
Right. I was thinking more that like when he got engulfed, he would be absorbing the god's energy, something similar to Dagda Nanashi.
Yeah. I
Makes
definitely
sense.
think that's what's going on here. That's why I think like it probably is pulling like from Four Apocalypse in that kind of way. I mean, I like Dog. I like the whole thing so far, but
Interesting.
So
So
what was the question in saying that like when you mentioned the god and what he said, was that borrowing from the whole the endings of Nocturne? Is that what you're saying? Or is it like the whole Kagazuchi recreate the world? Is that what you're saying he might be Demi-Fiend for?
yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Like it just
Uh-huh.
feels like I had those Nocturne vibes when I saw the trailer at first, and I obviously just like you guys watched it a bunch of time, and I just it feels like that particular part. It really feels Nocturne to me. I
It almost feels too easy to think that it's a Nocturne-esque game. Like, I mean, they said it in the trailer, everything in the trailer says it too, but it almost feels like I'm walking into a trap to think and speculate around Nocturne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird because I
It
don't
could
know.
be the
Like,
reason.
also, the fact that they did release Nocturne HD right next to SMT V also exemplifies why this might happen.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what I
don't
was
know.
thinking too. Yeah, like just build up some hype and get interest in SMT Nocturne, and then just have five just build upon that. I mean, that's what I think could be a thing now. But honestly, like the guy, he doesn't really like. A lot of people say he looks like Demifiend. I can't really like the hair and stuff like that. I can't really
He looks
see it.
too old, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
too tall.
Mm-hmm.
He's too built.
Like I think
Don't
he's
Exactly.
get
just
me
a
wrong, Demifiend's built, but
Not that much. But those those colorful lines on the body, it might be it. Is that like a? It's hard to tell. We don't have a much to go off of.
well, how about this? If we do go off the trailers, there have been several different demon designs incorporated. Some from earlier earlier SMT, some from modern SMT, apparently like Odin and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps this is just one of the recurring demons, but it's just a new design for them, right? So Demifiend, all right, Demifiend. I don't want it to be him. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't want it to be him, but it could be. Well, if we think about a redesign, I don't think that would be a good look for Demifiend. I don't think that gives us an idea. Oh, that's gonna be what in his look tells us that it's Demifiend outside of his hairstyle, which was really kind of dark. Like, let's look at the SMT5 protagonist. When we saw the first trailer and we saw the back of his head, we had no idea what the front of his head would look like. So in this case, we've seen the front of the god's head, but we don't know what the back of his head's gonna look like. And you know how the Demifiend has that little thing on the back of his neck that lets him summon demons and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's not there, but we can't really tell too much by the looks because we've been deceived already by the protagonist.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. During my whole stream, I was like, "Oh, it's a girl! It's a girl!"
I wouldn't be against the Demifiend, but hey,
But I get your point. Like, I understand what you mean. Like, it's easy. I think they have more maneuver with a new character than just to add like another character where they have to just use that personality and use that character that they created in the past for another game. And the setting of the game, as we said before, from what we can see, it definitely feels more about something along the lines of SMT4 than Nocturne to me. So I don't know. I think it's a bit soon to tell. But hey, speaking of anything that you want to add, guys, about that, I have a related question.
honestly, well, I've only played like a little bit of Nocturne, like a really small amount of Nocturne, but it really reminds me of like the beginning of Nocturne more than SMT4. Whereas like SMT4, it almost felt kind of like not really futuristic, but like if you look at the world map, it has like a lot of color. Well, I want to say a lot of life, but no, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. It looks more like Nocturne in my opinion. I'm not sure.
oh,
Okay.
Just like the whole like sand everywhere and all that, but like I said, I haven't played much of Nocturne.
It
so-
might be the art style for me. That might be the reason why it feels that way, but it's hard to tell. Like we need to see more. We need to see more. But
we
well,
get
they
soon.
take place in the same country, which once again makes this a little too easy. And then the way it looks, I know what Rick was talking about. He's probably talking about right after the conception when he was walking through the streets and he saw Lady in Black and Lucifer. And you could
Yeah.
see buildings in the distance, and obviously majority of things were destroyed though, but it looked just like the trailer. And it just kind of has that same feeling of things just went down, everything just got destroyed, and now I'm stuck in a world full of demons, just like that. It's almost the same thing.
because we know, and I'm not sure, but I think I saw that in an interview. They want to create something like they want to create an apocalyptic setting with this one, and it will be in Tokyo as well. Is that
Are you
correct?
talking about when he was like he was explaining how they wanted like some of the worries of the people that'd be like they're talking about like nuclear war and all that kind of thing, stuff like that? Is that what you're talking about? That
I
same article?
Don't know, but it's an old one. Like it's an old one that we saw an article from just after the reveal. Like it's the beginning of
That
2017.
one was really old.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Yeah, it is exactly. I'm not sure. Had to look it up, but it's something that I saw at some point, and this is how it feels as well with the trailers, at least from what we can see. So, Yeah, well, you see, the next question that I had for you guys is one of the crazy ones that I was talking about. Like, we're talking about,
Oh
do
man.
we want to see Demifiend in the game? And we also told our opinions, and everything is cool. Now, the question that I have is, as you guys probably know, Nocturne featured Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
now
man.
my question is, my question
I know
is,
it's coming.
who should be in this one if they decide to add a guest character? So we're not talking will we have a guest character, but if there was someone that could be in, I want to hear you guys. I want two answers, okay? I want one crazy wish, and I also want one that you think would feel right in the setting of an SMT game, like a character that feels kind of likely if they have a guest character, and one crazy one.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
I think realistically, Bayonetta I think is pretty realistic. I could definitely see that. Her new game's coming out. I don't know, probably not next year, but I mean, definitely is coming out sometime soon. SMT5's coming out soon. They both have themes about angels and demons, and I don't know. It just seems like it would fit.
Mm.
They're both on Nintendo, so I guess it would make sense.
They both games have been announced way too soon as well.
Definitely, yeah. Like, bro,
Yeah.
where's Bayonetta 3? Like,
Seriously.
Bayonetta's
that's the next
Game
one.
Awards 2017 as well.
Yeah.
So that's
it's
another
almost
3 years title without any information on it, except that it's not dead, that the game's not dead. But Bayonetta is a great pick. I feel like it would be she would fit well in the game, I think.
Yeah. For like a crazy pick for
Uh-huh.
me, let's see. I'm trying to come up with like the most outlandish character I could think of. Maybe like, actually, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of hard. Where am I pulling from? For a crazy character, I think like,
And yeah, someone just said in the
no,
chat they're
you're good.
both owned by Sega.
Yeah,
That's
both owned by
another
Sega.
cool point.
I honestly wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised to see a collaboration between the two.
That would be cool. Someone said Travis Touchdown as well.
I could
Oh
see
my
that.
god.
That would be cool. That would be
You
cool.
know,
Maybe
I've never. I don't think I haven't played too much of the No More Heroes games. All I know is that it's the guy that literally wields the sword that I think he got from Walmart or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't really know.
Yeah, I've been watching the trailers for the third one. I'm definitely gonna get that one.
It
It'll
looks
be the
well,
first one I played. So
from what we can see, it looks
It
cool.
looks cool for sure. But he would definitely be a comedy relief character. He would
For
be
sure.
a good Dante-ish guy, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
I also think so. But that was a crazy question, honestly. I don't know how likely it is that they decide to add another guest character. But hey, Christian, you have
Fire
any
Emblem
picks?
character.
A Fire Emblem character, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
An anime
Dude, I
swordsman?
feel like that's not even. It's crazy, but it's when you say it, when you said it just now. I don't know. I think I had like a mental orgasm because it can, I mean, they can redeem Sharp FE. And not to say it needs redeeming anymore. I used to hate it. I think the game is actually pretty cool, but they could redeem it by at least putting a FE rep in there. Like, but uh, who if we do go in the route of Fire Emblem? If you guys played Fire Emblem, who do you think would fit best in the Mega Tank game? Well, in SMT5.
That's a great
Uh,
one. Crom?
Probably like Lucina, maybe. I don't know.
Lucina, Crom, yeah.
One of like the really popular ones, like
Marth.
Lucina or Crown, probably.
Or,
I actually forgot, like for a split second, I forgot that they did cross over with Tokyo Mirage Session, so that's not really all that crazy. I did think about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's more like it could happen, and they have a chance to do something right that they didn't do right before.
I wonder how that'll be received by the fans, though. Like, maybe I don't know. Maybe SMT fans probably won't mind, but maybe like the other side of the Nintendo fan base might be like, "Oh, it's another Fire Emblem character in another Nintendo game. Come on, guys." I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right. I also wanted to pick up back where you said what kind of guest characters would you want. Now, I haven't played this game, but I remember seeing gameplay of this game before, and it was developed by Atlus. It's a game called Makin Shou, and it has like this female with like a red jacket on the cover. I think she has a sword. Not too sure. You guys could check it out. Like I said, the design is all the same, like the SMT style. I think she fights like spirits, souls, demons, anything, something like that. You could definitely look at the gameplay and kind of tell me if I'm wrong or not. But seeing as the game looks like it will fit in the Mega 10 universe, if she were to be in this game, SMT5, she would have the same style. She'd look really edgy and dark. And if her story is similar enough to what SMT stands for, I would like to see that. Like, I would literally just like to see her fight the protagonist. She fights a lot in her game. You just walk around just whacking something. I don't really know what they are. I haven't played the game, but I've seen gameplay, and I remember seeing a couple of Megaten tubers talk about the game years ago. And I think the game looks cool. It looks just like Megaten.
That's
So,
on which
What's it called
platform is
again? How do you
that?
spell it? You said
Makin Shao, I think it's Shao. Makin, Maken, and there's one called Makin Shao X or something like
Makin
that.
X. Okay, yeah, I can see
Makin
that.
X, I think that's what it was. Yeah,
Huh. I
definitely
never heard of
influenced.
that.
Okay.
Was that released in the West?
Ooh,
I don't think so, from what
not
I
too
can
sure.
see. But yeah, I can
It's
see the
very
character
obvious.
that you're talking about. Yeah.
Market X did. It
Yeah.
looks like.
Oh. Okay, great pick.
Yeah, you could see it a little bit.
Yeah, I can see her. Okay, very, very nice. Well, you see, we talked about the two realistic answers that I had to that question, and those were Bayonetta and Travis Touchdown that I had written down. So the chat, well, Riku, you said Bayonetta, and the chat said Travis Touchdown, but I also add a crazy wish, and I had to bring up my boy, Goro Majima.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
I knew it.
Let's go. That would be sick. But that he won't fit, but that would be amazing. I said crazy wish,
Damn
so
it, David.
I had to bring him
Go
up.
everywhere.
Oh, hell yeah. Every single time
I
that
would
someone
not be
posts
against
like let's put Kiryu in Smash, I'm like, fuck no. Let's put my boy Goro.
Let's do that, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That'd be amazing.
And
Now-
it makes sense because Goro's the kind of guy that would kill somebody. Like if he saw
Yeah.
Demifiend or somebody like that, he would try to kill them.
Yeah.
Where he's Kiryu wouldn't. He'd probably beat the shit out of them, but after that, he'll walk away. Give him a
Yeah,
chance to redeem
exactly.
himself.
Exactly. But that was just a crazy wish.
Yeah.
And talking about those guest characters, another thing, Riku, you did a video a while ago, Joker
Oh,
from
God.
Persona 5 and SMT 5. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts now that we saw the trailers
Okay.
about that.
So I would like to say that I have finally finished an SMT game. Like back then, I didn't even play an SMT game when I made that video.
Yeah.
It wasn't received too well, but I understand because it's like Persona is already like you don't want it to invade SMT. You know, I mean, I think about it like I think it would be like interesting, but then I think about it more. It's like he definitely would not fit in that setting at all. Like he's a Phantom Thief. What was he gonna do in an apocalypse? There's no mementos. There's no like cognition. Like what's gonna happen? It definitely would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not gonna delete the video, but those don't necessarily like my current viewpoints. You know, I think there are a lot more better picks that you could pick other than Joker. But hey, I just figured like as a marketing thing, like from a marketing perspective,
It would make sense.
I almost want to say I could see Atlus doing that. Hey guys, it's not Persona 5, but it's got Joker in it, and I don't know how well that worked for Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but I mean,
Man,
this is SMT. I mean, I'm not sure.
Megaton veterans would be mad.
Switch.
Let's not
Sounds
start on
good,
that.
Yeah, back it up. Let's go.
Hey, when I started to do, because I've been doing videos for like 3 months or something, like I'm still new to YouTube, but like the first videos that I had a video on Persona and Switch, and that was before I realized that was a video directed towards which community that I did. And that's when I realized that I added like in my description, and I'm about to roast those guys, but like I added the break free persona in my description.
Oh, no.
And then yeah, I did. Yeah, but it's not available anymore. Like everything's been deleted. You won't find it, and you won't. I'm telling you guys, but you won't find it anymore. But that's when I realized like the break free persona, when you don't know what the guys are saying about what everyone is saying and using this expression or tag for, it makes sense in a way. But when you realize that the guys that are always screaming out loud like break free persona, they're the guys that like Atlus would say like I don't know, like Aegis Rim's been delayed. There's like the people are commenting like where's Persona 5 for Switch? Break free persona. That's
Right.
that's
Yeah,
stupid.
really obnoxious at that point.
Yeah,
Really.
at first it seemed like a supportive movement, but it's really just a bunch of, I don't want to call them babies, but hey,
But well,
It's true. I mean,
they're
come on.
impatient individuals for the
exactly.
good words.
Exactly. But I'm like what I'm saying to people when because we're always seeing just by covering Megaton, we're always getting those comments. But every single time that someone brings it up, like Persona Switch, I'm always like, Atlus will look at the market, and if they decide to bring the game, it's because they feel like it's worth it to bring the game to the console. It's not by just, screaming all the time that you want their game on any single tweet that they do, that you'll get your game. Like, you're just annoying everyone, and it doesn't help when, I remember seeing the news for that girl from Atlus West.
Yeah.
That said, like, you guys need to tell us that you want the game on Switch. I was like, oh,
I just
God.
put it in full blast right there.
Oh, that's like, what a mistake. Like, it won't change anything. Well, I don't know what to say anymore, because we got the news recently about the stupid surveys, like that they helped with the release of Nocturne Remastered. So I don't even know anymore. I thought Nintendo was hard to predict, but Atlus is something else. Honestly, they are unpredictable. Like, really.
Yeah, I want to go back to the whole break free persona thing. I don't want to turn this into like a mini rant or anything like that, but I see people who are completely dismissing SMT5 entirely just because it's not Persona 5. That's when I'm like, that's kind of like come on, guys. Not Atlus is more than Persona 5. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, come on.
Exactly. Did you guys see the the response to the direct? Like, I know that there was a bunch of random people that was just disliking because it was only Atlus, only Megaton, and that I can understand, honestly. And I won't say anything. Like, if I was not a Megaton fan, this direct was garbage. So I understand, but it's just the the reception to like on Twitter. Exactly, on Twitter I saw comments and they were not even kidding. It was like, what the hell is this garbage looking Persona game, like, or stuff like that. I was man,
go to hell, Nintendo. I'm done supporting your game.
I don't even know what to say at this point. Or like, I saw like, is that Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2 or something like that? Like, people are just, if it's not Persona, I'm sure that if Atlus, like, if they reveal like P4G for Switch, people will complain. It's not P5. And if they release P5, where's P5R? Like, people will always complain. Always.
You know what the issue is, guys? I think
break free Persona.
That's
the issue.
I think the problem is that they're getting, how do I say it? They're spoiled. The core Persona fans that push this break free movement, and I'm gonna probably end it here unless you guys have something more to say. They don't realize that they've had games since Persona 5 Vanilla came out. Like, literally, there's been Joker everywhere in every single game on the mobile market, console market. There's been spin-offs. There's a game on the Switch right now. There's a game on the 3DS right now. There's a game on the PS3, PS4, and the Vita right now with Persona 5 on it, in it. And now they know that Atlus will put Persona 5 everywhere. So they feel like, they've been given an opportunity to have a voice. Like, obviously, we all have a voice, but since Atlus already went far, they feel like there's no limit to how much P5 can be in any other fucking media in the world. So they're just going to be like, all right, you gave us like 10 different versions of Joker and 10 different video games. You can give us 10 more, right? Whereas now with us, the the SMT people that are waiting for SMT5, we realize that if we talk like they do, if we scream like they do, we're never going to get our game. We've been waiting years for our game. But let's be honest, if we were getting Megaton game after Megaton game after Megaton game and Demifiend was everywhere, we'd probably be like, oh, you could put him in another game then. You could put him in Smash. You could put him in this. You could put him in that. And that's what they're going through. And I think they haven't realized how much they've gotten out of Atlus. Like, seriously, you guys have games for years. You could see Joker for years on end.
He's in Sonic Forces. Joker is in Sonic Forces. Yeah.
Identity V, I think the game was. It's so many different games, man.
That's the intelligent way to think about it, but there's a bunch of people that are just as you said, it's like they just want to scream it out loud, and they're not even thinking about it. They're like, okay, they want to milk P5. Well, let's do some more, and let's put the game on Switch. Let's put the game on PC, and like this. We're never going to get over that thing. I mean, even when they release the game, people will complain. There will be something. I don't know what, but something will be wrong. Something will not be correct. That's for sure. Anyways, that's.
Yeah. I was about to make this a positive, turn this into a positive environment. So, Shin Megami Tensei 5, right? At
Well,
this point, oh, you got something to say?
no, go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say because I was talking with one of my friends and he was like he felt dissatisfied with the trailer and I could understand why. It was only about a minute and 40 something seconds
Hmm.
and we didn't get much. We didn't get gameplay and that's something we've been waiting for the longest. However, the way I look at it to stay positive is that because this game is expected to come out next year, it could come out December 31st of 2021, sure, but because there's a year from this point moving forward, I feel like there's gonna be trailer after interview after trailer after interview for this whole next year. And that's a lot of information to have. Do you guys feel the same way, or do you guys think it's going to be another long cycle of waiting for a little bit of information?
We'll see. We'll
I
see
feel
some
like this
info.
is where they go the Persona 5 route and release a trailer. It's about 2 minutes every couple of months.
I agree. Yeah, I think that since they basically got it, this is that actual trailer. So yeah, I can definitely see them like throughout this year and maybe next year. Actually, definitely next year. That we're definitely going to be getting some trailers. I can definitely see that.
We're going to see the game again, that's for sure. And I don't know about frequent update, like you said, Christian, like monthly updates or monthly videos or interviews. I don't know about that. It would be amazing, but I don't know if that's the route that they'll take. Like if we go all the way back to SMT 4, the game released like really shortly after the initial announcement, and there was not even in that period of time there was not even that type of marketing push for the game. But one of the questions that I wanted to ask you guys is that what will be the push from Nintendo? What will they help to do something like that you just suggested, like a monthly update? Or I even saw someone ask me, do you think they'll do like a Shin Megami Tensei Direct like they did
Yeah.
with Xenoblade?
Ooh. Yeah, I definitely. I talked about that on Twitter with David a couple of days ago. Yeah, I could definitely see them, like, because whenever it's a direct, there's a ton of eyes on it, no matter what it is. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed, even if it's like the Arms Direct a couple years ago, there was always a ton of eyes on it. So that's a great way to get a lot of eyes on SMT5. Otherwise, I could see like Atlus putting out a tweet like they've been doing, like they always do with Catherine for like the past like 2 months and stuff like that. But I think
And
the SMT5 Direct, that's the way to do it. Really, it's a huge RPG. Xenoblade had one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they definitely need to do that.
And Nintendo will probably publish the game here, like they did with Dragon Quest. So if that's the case, you can bet that they'll push it to the max, like they did with Dragon Quest. I don't know if you guys remember, but I followed Dragon Quest 11S from day one when they announced it, which was the first NX game that was announced back in the day, until
wow.
release. And they posted a bunch of trailers. They posted a bunch of information about the game and where it was, and they really pushed the marketing for this game. So I did a bunch of videos on the sales potential for SMT5, and I really do think that if Nintendo is behind the marketing for this game, it has it really 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 has a bunch of chances to succeed.
I think 1 million minimum is definitely a
Yep.
lock in my opinion. It could be even more than that though. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think so.
Same. At this point, I think 1 million is. I think it's even a safe bet. I would have said different like a few months ago, but now I really do think it's a given.
so, since you guys are talking about numbers, do you guys know the numbers for Sharp FE on
Garbage.
score?
I was never aware of it.
I don't think they
Uh,
have. I don't think they gave official numbers yet, but I heard somewhere or I saw somewhere, read somewhere that the sales numbers are really low, just like
Oh
Catherine.
man,
wow. Damn.
It
See, I
flopped.
was trying to get hype.
No,
I was
it
hoping for
flopped.
the game to succeed just like Catherine.
Hmm. But I don't
mean-
think like Catherine had more chances to succeed than Tokyo Mirage Sessions, in my opinion, because of the type of game that it is. Like I don't think it's the type of game that you'll just see and you're like, oh, it looks cool, and I'll pick it up, like an Octopath Traveler, for example. But it definitely appeals to like a more of a niche audience. So I don't know, but I curious for the numbers of TMS. I'll check that out, but I'm curious. I don't know what to expect.
Right. And also to go over what you guys were saying about like press information and streams and directs like that, like Catherine had, I was looking back, and I do it periodically, at how Atlus handles their marketing. Have you guys ever seen that video for SMT4 Apocalypse called "How We Came Up with the Name Apocalypse"? How we named SMT4 Apocalypse?
I saw it
It
in
was
my.
basically
I
it
never.
was a video of Atlus just like in a meeting, literally just the Atlus people, and they were just having a little banter about the name and making jokes and whatnot, edgy things, and just having fun. And honestly, I think even that being such a weird, funny thing is marketing for a game. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that streams and directs is also a great way to do it, like a professional way to do it. But I also hope that they do things like that where they get comfortable and
Mm-hmm.
they kind of remind us that they're people and that they care about the game they're talking about. Like that video was about 4 minutes of just like not taking the game seriously at all. And this was before the game even came out, or probably a little bit after. But when I remember watching it and thinking like, wow, I really want to play this game, or they really care about their fans. And this was a time when Atlas would do a lot. They would do a lot of crazy things. You just, I don't know. I like knowing that the company cares about the games they make. But now they're so pressured to just throw out a game and make sure it makes numbers. And I get it. That's the world we live in now. But I hope that SMT5 gets a little more love. They take it a little more personally, just have a bit of fun with the game. And maybe only SMT4 got that treatment because of the type of game it was, because it was very lighthearted and fun and playful. But I liked it. And I think SMT5 would benefit from it.
Exactly, and personally, just this type of push would be really amazing. Like this, just give us like frequent updates. They don't have to be a lot of information. Like just an interview, or just as you said, like a tour, like of the office, and they're just talking quickly about how they came up with the ideas for the trailers and stuff like that. That would be really cool, and that makes people talk, especially for a game like SMT5 that we don't know nothing about. They don't have to say a lot, so every single Megaton content creator covers the information. Like since
Mm-hmm.
2017, any single bit of information of or any interview, anything has been covered 100% when they announce anything. So just a tiny bit of information or a tiny bit of coverage for the upcoming game would do really well, I think. That would be a great way to market it. And as you said, I would be fine with this type of coverage for the upcoming game. Like, yeah, direct on the game would be amazing, but it doesn't have to be that, in my opinion, for it to be great in its marketing campaign. But I had one thing that I wanted to say, because from I picked up one word from what you said, and it's you said they feel pressured, and that's a bit off topic. But I had a question about why the game was announced so soon, in your opinion. Like, we got to remember that SMT5 was shown at the first time during the January event 2017,
2017,
before the
that's right.
Switch released, so 3 months before the Switch release. Why did they show SMT5 on that day, in your opinion?
Wow. Jesus, and that was a
Mm.
that was a worldwide direct. I
Yep.
think they only did that because honestly, I didn't expect it. I wasn't even really thinking that the game had a chance to show up. I was there for everything else,
Same.
and it was pleasant. I was pleasantly surprised and whatnot. But I think they only did it because it was a worldwide presentation, and it would get people to buy a Switch like it did for me,
Yeah.
and I'm sure many other people. But outside of that, I don't think I have a concrete reason. It's been SMT4 came out in 2014,
2013,
2013, and then Apocalypse was 2016, right?
I think
I
so.
And
believe
then
so.
the Switch Direct was yeah, okay, awesome. So yeah, and then the Direct was in 2017. Honestly, I don't think they needed to talk about it at that point. I really don't, and I could only assume that they just did it to get the Switch more numbers, because no one. I mean, seeing the way things happen 3 years later or 2 years later, it would have been it's unnecessary.
People
So
definitely.
I just think they did it. Yeah.
In my opinion, I think they probably did it just to like show support for the system, even though they basically had like just conceptual ideas. If the first trailer was literally just the demon designs in like in a room, and that was basically it. So I think, and I also think it might just be because of their tendency to just announce a thing like really really early. So I figured this was just no different, just like Persona 5, and then it gets
Mhm.
delayed like 3 times. Hopefully, it doesn't happen
Yeah.
to SMT5. But I just think it's just them announcing it early. And yeah, I could agree with what Christian said, that yeah, it probably was to just get the hardcore players to buy a Switch, because that's a game that a lot of people would buy a Switch specifically for, like just for that one game. So I could definitely see them using that to their advantage.
Those are
The
good.
problem was, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. The problem was that, sure, it hyped me up. It hyped all of us up. And then I did get a Switch. And then I made a whole video on it. And then there was radio silence. So the problem with Atlus having a tendency like that is that they lose more fans than they gain with stunts like that. Like, I don't think there's ever been a person that, think about Persona 5 like you just mentioned. That was, I want to guess 2013, because they said somewhere winter 2014 or 2015 it was going to come out, and then it was delay after delay after delay. Why do you guys think that they do that? Because I don't think anyone bought a Switch in 2014 or 2015 thinking that Persona 5 was coming. I think everyone already had one and was just, but now Atlus revealed the game way early and everyone got a Switch. Well, I got a Switch. I'm sure there's other people, but what I'm really trying to say is, why do you think that Atlus does that? Like, now, knowing that it can backfire, and it has backfired, why do you think people do it? Or why do you think Atlus does it? Excuse me.
I have an idea. I honestly, for P5, I have to say that I don't know. I don't know. For SMT5, I have something to add, though. I agree with everything that both of you guys said, but there's an opinion that I had, and I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it. January event, the Switch was the system that came out after the Wii U. Do you guys were following the news for the Wii U, like the overall gaming industry news, anything surrounding Nintendo with the possibility of upcoming releases? Did you guys check that out a bit, or?
I mean, like back when the Wii U was a thing?
Back when like since day one for the Wii U, were you just like, do you have this? Did you have the system? Were you looking at the news to know which game would come out next for the system? Like, were you watching it close by like that?
I didn't even have a Wii U, and honestly,
Okay.
I didn't know what it was until like a couple years before I got my Switch, and
Okay.
that's sad.
Wow.
I really didn't
Well,
know what it was.
that's a topic for that we could talk about for a while, but that's one of the problems for the Wii U. But what I wanted to get at is that if we look at the Wii U, the because I'm trying to justify my point for why I think the SMT5 was announced so soon, and I think it's not Atlus's fault. I think that might be because of Nintendo, and let me explain. That's because the Wii U, and that's just my opinion, we don't have any facts, but the Wii U had like 0 JRPGs or any Japanese support. Basically every single JRPG on the Wii U, or at least any like good JRPG on the Wii U, was like first IP title, like Xenoblade or something like that. So what I think is that with the announcement for the Switch, Nintendo had Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Square showed Project Octopath Traveler, and they also add SMT5. So I think Nintendo wanted to prove their worldwide audience that there would be JRPG and Japanese support on the Switch. So I think that might have been the reason why they pushed Atlus to show something about SMT5. What do you guys think about that? That was my opinion about why it was announced so soon.
That was very well thought out. Jesus, that just changed my opinion on that. I think that in that case, it was smart, albeit Xenoblade did release at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely still, it was definitely still interesting to see that. I had a Wii U, but I was playing Smash and Splatoon. I actually didn't play any JRPGs at the time. I only started playing a little bit later, like, let me see, what was it, 2015? Was when I actually first played, Persona 3 was in 2014. But long story short, what I'm saying is that at the time with the Wii U, I didn't play JRPG. So when the Switch presentation came around, I wasn't looking for anything in particular. Like I said, I wasn't looking for JRPGs, fighters, anything. I was just a regular consumer at the time. But that's very interesting that you say that, because it makes a lot of sense.
Even if we look at Octopath Traveler, the game came out in, and don't quote me on that, but I think it was August 2018, and it's Square Enix, and it's a smaller title for Square Enix. Like, it's not an FF7 remake, so it took them from the announcement January 2017 to August 2018 to release a 2.5D thingy RPG for a big company like Square. Like, again, it does feel like Nintendo. I really do think that Nintendo wanted to prove that they would have JRPG support on the console. They had their Xenoblade, but they knew that with the Wii U, Xenoblade was not enough. Just Xenoblade was not enough. And I think, well, that's my opinion. So I'm glad that you guys think it might be the case, but I mean, everything works. But again, when we look at P5, they announced it like in 2013 or something. Like it took a long time to release, and it's just Atlus. Like clearly, Sony has nothing to do with that. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Again, it's Atlus. It's hard. They're hard to predict.
They're unpredictable.
Let's send a survey. Surveys will help.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Basically, with the whole Nintendo, they were pushing for JRPGs, but I can also see it because like it could have been like kind of like an act of desperation because like they kind of needed the Switch to succeed after the Wii U, and they had the 3DS, but I mean like for coming, obviously the 3DS was going to end soon. They can't keep a old system alive forever. It's time to move on to the new one, but I think they really needed the system to really succeed, and obviously, well, it's a handheld, and those do well in Japan, and so yeah, to show the support and have, I mean, obviously a console is nothing without the games, so like the fact that they needed these games to prove that, yeah, this system's going to be worth it. So guys, pick it up if you like SMT. I could definitely see that. Even if Atlus was just at the part of the stage where they just opened up Unreal and named the project, they say, hey, can you make us a trailer, please? So yeah,
it makes sense. I think it makes sense, but we'll never know. But I think it makes sense if we have to speculate.
You guys mind if I bring it back to SMT5 real quick?
go for it.
Of course, no problem.
Okay, awesome. Let me see what it was. Give me 1 second. I was thinking about it while you guys were having a conversation just now. Okay, so Shin Megami Tensei V. You guys played a handful of Megaten games by this point, correct?
A few.
Yes.
You guys have gotten adjusted to the mechanics across certain titles. I know David has played Soul Hackers. I know Rikku, you played SMT4. So think about the gameplay mechanics and imagine your perfect SMT game. And that should really be SMT5 if Atlus is taken from the best of the best games in the SMT series. What mechanics would make a perfect experience? Because I was playing Strange Journey. I'm playing Strange Journey again now, and I've picked up on things that I've honestly fell in love with. So I played Soul Hackers at one point, and I liked the whole demon alignment and how it forced me as the player to get adjusted to what demons do what, and how they had personalities in Soul Hackers where they wouldn't respond to you based off alignment based things. Like you'd have to know about the demon in order to befriend them and have them work the best that they can. And Strange Journey has an alignment system where you get optimal damage if you have a team made up of the same alignment demons. Would you guys like something like that to return in SMT5? A focus on alignment?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. There was something I wanted to say about that, but yes, that would be cool. There's a bunch of mechanics that one thing that I really like about SMT games is that they're really unique from one to another. This game will probably be that way as well, but there is some things that they could take from other titles, and that's a great example in my opinion. The alignment system I wanted to return with the trailer that we saw. I'm sure that it will return because it's a mechanic that I adore from the games, especially like I played Devil Survivor recently, and that was one of the mechanics that it was really well applied to this title in particular, more than others in my opinion.
Yeah, I love the process. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just
okay. I love the process of like customizing my party and recruiting demons and fusing them and all that. So I think like, yeah, I remember like hearing about Strange Journey have the whole alignment thing. So anything that would like make me take a bit more time to get like my perfect party for like a specific boss, or like for how I just want to like have my party for now. Yeah, I'm for it. Anything, because I love the customization of it.
It makes the games a little more difficult because for me, especially now that I'm just starting the game over again, in order to make with the kind of fusion demons that I have currently, they're actually all split up. So one's like neutral chaos, one's neutral law, and then I have two regular neutrals. And I like the fact that it makes the game more difficult because what's the best way to say this? Because SMT4 and even Nocturne, those games, like you wouldn't remember demons, right? You played the game, you fused demons, you hardly remember them. You built no relationship with them, and I think that what Strange Journey is doing for me is it's forcing me to pay attention to the demons and keep them longer, or only use them in specific situations. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I have a hard way of explaining things.
It really does.
And
It really does.
Soul Hackers had demon personalities where I literally fell in love with some demons because you had to talk to them a certain way, and you had mechanics where you could command them to do certain things, or you could let them decide what they want to do, and it builds a relationship with that demon. And it made me remember what demons are dope, really. Like, I fucking love that game, and that's something I would love to see in SMT5.
100%. I forgot about that mechanic, but it's great. Like, there was some at certain points, if you, at first when I started the game, and I don't know if it did that to you as well, Krischenn, but like I was recruiting the demons and I was playing SMT 4, but in another game, you know. So I was just playing the same way, and I was not necessarily giving any attention to the demon personalities. And at a certain point, you just ask a certain demon to do a certain move, but if it's not what he wants to do, he'll tell you, it's like,
I'm not gonna do that.
Nah, I'm just gonna, blast Agi. I'm not doing that yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what? And then you gotta think about which type of move. That's a mechanic that would be really cool to bring in. I think it's kind of a, what's the right way to say it? I think it's a mechanic that is a bit more, I don't know if you guys will get what I want to say, but hardcore. Like, it's something that you really gotta pay attention, and I think that maybe sometime it might turn some people off, those type of mechanics, if they're too complicated. Can I say that?
Yeah,
do you guys understand what I mean?
Your party needs a different response. Yeah, it makes things like a headache.
Well, you gotta think about it.
Now you would want a team that works the same way. You would want like a team of slide demons for things to be easier and just tell them all to do the same exact thing. But you got one demon that wants to be talked to like she's a fucking princess, and one of them that just wants to be doing their own thing, right? Like, it's just a headache, because now every single demon that you fuse, you have to get to know them. And basically, if Rikku doesn't know, they're like social links, and you have to build them while you're in battle, and you have to get to know the demon. Mm-hmm. And throughout the game, that social link can change. So every single move that you make to the end of the game changes this basic what's it called, relationship that you have with your demon. And the demon can get angry with you. Like, it could just not do anything if the rank is low. So think about Persona, but like the demon relationship.
Sorry to interrupt. I just have a quick question for you. Is it in Soul Hackers that the demon can just leave if they're not happy? They can just leave the party?
I think so. Wow, this was so long ago.
I'm not sure, but so. I saw that in a game recently. If the meter is
really low, I think it will.
Yeah, I think that's the game. I'm not sure. You guys can correct that's if you're wrong. But sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering if that was the one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like it, but I could see how it can get really frustrating, because if you don't have similar demons like that, like the same thing.
Yeah, well,
now you get to a point in the game where you're like, oh, what does that demon like to do? Or what does this demon like to do? Should I tell him to just go, or should I tell him to do this move? Or should I tell her? Like, yeah.
That's the one.
I'll definitely get around to playing that, since I got a 3DS for basically SMT games. So
you should. It's good. It's really good. But yes, it's in this game, Krischenn, that they can leave the party. Like, I wrote on Google, can demons leave your party in Soul Hackers? And the first suggestion is like, why do my demons leave the party for good? It's a forum. So yes, that's the one. But I was not sure. But yes, that was the one. So if you don't care about the personality system, they'll just leave. They just flat out
it's gonna be
show by. Exactly. So, but it happened like for a few occasions for me. So you definitely have to just. You don't look at the personality or the traits of your demons at all for it to happen. So if you just give it a bit of attention, it will work. But personally, I felt that Soul Hackers it was easier than the other titles that I played before. So I think that might be one of the reasons why. Like, this mechanic, which is a bit more complex, they decided to put the enemies a bit easier for that reason. I don't know what's your thought on that, but there's like one or two bosses that I had problems with, but overall the game was pretty easy for a SMT game, for me at least.
Yeah, it was just a little slow.
It was
for me personally.
No, it was. Yeah. I agree. But yes, Riku, you should definitely play that one. It's a cool game, and it's again.
Certainly, dude. It's the music is good. The gameplay is doable for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna end up playing all of them if I'm being honest here. Like I bought Saga, I might like shelf those for now. I think I'm just gonna get when I finish 4 Apocalypse, I'm gonna go on to like Devil Survivor, Devil Summoner, all those.
Devil Survivor
Yeah, I'll
is.
do it with you, man. David told me everyone freaking said play Devil Survivor. I'll do it with you, man.
Yeah,
Devil Survivor is gold. The combat system for me was like that's something that I would like to see in SMT V, and I don't know if fans would be okay with that, but the way that it is Krischenn, did you play Devil Survivor? You did not?
I definitely gave it a shot.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'll go on a quick rant about it, actually.
Of course, let's go. Go ahead.
I figure you wanted my thoughts on it. Yeah, I was talking with my friend about it the other day. Now, this guy plays Megaton games over and over, and he just does not care. He enjoys them that much. Devil Survivor was actually one of them. He played both the games. He gifted me the soundtrack because he loved the game so much, and I still play the soundtrack on a CD and whatnot. But the gameplay itself is, in my honest opinion, a nightmare. I can't play that game. I can't play it because it feels like it takes an hour to get through every single fight. And imagine you have different, like it's Fire Emblem, right? If like I said in a comment once before, it feels like Fire Emblem, but it's like the nightmare Fire Emblem, like the Fire Emblem on crack. The Fire Emblem you can't beat. the map is too big. There's too many enemies. You got to do a turn for every single member of the party. You got to move them. You got to fight, and then you got to got boxes on. It's a headache. I'm sure the story is great. The characters are magnificent, but the gameplay, I don't know what I have to do to I want to say tedious. Tedious is the right word.
Okay, but well, it's an interesting take for sure. But personally, I disagree with it's Fire Emblem because it's definitely more than that. Like once you just if the placement on the battlefield is important, but it's definitely secondary. Like the tactical system is secondary. Like you gotta think about who's going to fight who on the battlefield, depending on the whole weakness system. Because if you don't look at that, you'll get destroyed. Like it's just the squares on the battlefield are really secondary. It's like once you just, it's not like in Fire Emblem where you gotta I don't even know how to say it, but it's you gotta think more about the placement and who's going to attack who than like which units you put where and how many blocks do you want to move them forward, or I don't know if you understand what I mean, but the regular SMT combat is the primary factor for those fights. Of course, you're right, the fights are super long. Like some bosses, the fights take like 40 minutes to complete, and you got to do them multiple times because this game is hard and there's spikes
20 to get to the boss.
Yeah, so of course I can definitely understand that it can be a bit tedious with the length of the every single fight, but if you can live with that, there's fun to be had in battles. Because for me personally, this battle system I adored. Like the fact that you got to think about two things at the same time was genius to me. Like it's something that I really liked. You think about your regular classic SMT combat that you know and love, but you also got to think about, that tactical RPG elements. But I can understand that it's
Sometimes
not.
You have to protect someone on the battlefield, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I think yes, it happens. But in Devil Survivor, I think I said that in my review. I think it's well executed. Like those missions, the UI is not stupid. Like they work they work with you. Like it's not in my review I gave an example for Yakuza where in some of the games you gotta protect a civilian, and like there's 10 members of another clan, and the civilian that you gotta protect just jump in the clans and gets bodied right away. But in Devil Survivor, it's like they are healing themselves and they're running away, and you get to fight the UI is not stupid like in other games. Because when you say to me, and I don't know if that's what you guys think as well, but when you say to me, oh, there's a mission in that game where you have to protect someone, in my head that sounds garbage. Because in most of the games it is, but in Devil Survivor it's well executed in my opinion. personally, the combat system, it won't happen, but the combat system from Devil Survivor, to put that one in SMT5, I'd be cool with that, because I adored that combat system. For me, it was, but they should do like SMT4 combat in the tactical type of combat from Devil Survivor, because the combat, the general SMT combat in Devil Survivor is way more simplistic than Soul Hackers or Strange Journey or SMT4. So I would put that general combat system in the grid-based system as well. But it's just a crazy wish. It won't happen. And I'm sure, Krischenn, that there's a bunch of people like you that are. And that if they do that, the fights are going to be even longer. Because you have or just a regular battle, like multiplied by 7 enemies on the battlefield. So it wouldn't work. But for me, as a crazy player, I'd like that. So I'll just try to pick out like a. Do you guys mind if we just pick a question? If I pick one of my questions that is a bit off topic, but I want to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, no problem.
I want to ask, Nocturne HD Remastered was announced, and I was thinking if Atlus were to give the same treatment to another of their games, any Atlus games, which game would you pick to get the same type of treatment? Same game, but better textures, maybe added a few options like voice acting and stuff like that.
I would say Persona 3, because I think they could pull from both the portable version and P3 FES, and that it would have the 3D environments, but you can also control your party members. So yeah, and the female main character as well. So that'd be my pick, Persona 3.
That's a great pick. This game doesn't need a lot, in my opinion. It just needs the FES content, it needs the answer, and it needs the ability to control your party members from portable. If it has that, it's HD.
That's the definitive version now.
Exactly. They don't need to do a lot with it, so that's a good pick. Krischenn.
This is.
It's a good one.
A personal, like I've only played like 10 minutes of this game, but I'm amazed by it. I just, once again, prices, and I can't get the game myself right now. So it would be the Raito games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that concept, the system of the games, and the improvements from the second game, from the first game to the second game, would make, like, think of Platinum Games, right? The people that made Bayonetta, correct?
Yep.
And then think of Raito, flashing away at demons, going crazy, going nuts.
How
with
cool would that
English
be?
voice acting, HD textures. I don't want to say P5S. I see you shaking your head, David. What's wrong?
No, that would be sick. Then I'm approving, but
No.
I'm like, that would be cool.
I think Raito is underrated, honestly, and it's because it's inaccessible, and it's not really. The second game was better than the first, sure, but it's still a clunky game, and it's slow somewhat, and there's a lot going on. But I think if it was given the same treatment as Nocturne HD, it would be insane. People would love it. People would put it on par with Bayonetta.
Oh man, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know till recently that it was an action game. I had to look that up, and I was like, wow, this looks dope, man. This looks insane.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. But the games are so expensive that, exactly as you said, they're not accessible. But unlike Persona 3, I think this one would need a bit more work to make it good, to make it good in 2020, because just as you said, it's a bit clunky to get back to nowadays. It didn't age as well as a game like Persona 3, in my opinion. But those games, there's something that they can do with that platinum games idea that you brought out. It's like, that's a dream for me, honestly. How cool would that be?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know.
I would pay a lot for that. Whew. They were talking about $70 games. Oh, you have my $70 if you do that. Come on. Whew. That would be really cool. Great picks. Great picks. That was just a random question that I had, but I was wondering what you guys would pick. But you guys have good ideas. Can I ask another off-topic question? So, do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about before?
Yeah, I just wanted to recommend to both you guys. I don't know if you played the Raito games, but the aesthetic in those games and just the way that it pulls from the history of Japan at the time, guys, please play it. I know gonna take a while to actually get the game in, but or at least look at the game. Like look at the story of the game, because that's what I had to do. I can't get the game, but I looked at the story of the game. Obviously, I looked at the way the game plays, the aesthetic of the game, the assets and all that stuff. It's like I I have a big space in my heart for classic looking things and Japan, like old Japan, and maybe that's why I like it.
Hmm.
But the game is great. Like the game is great. So I'm just recommending it, saying when you get a chance, look it up, play it one day. Ask a friend that has it to play. Like, it's on the PSN store, so that's one route.
Hmm.
Oh man, well, I'm not spending $90 on eBay then. Definitely, I just get.
Yeah, definitely not. You can spend 10 and just have it.
Okay, yeah.
I want to play those games so bad. I haven't played them. I know what they are, and I've watched a bit of footage, but I did not read anything about the story. Maybe I should. It's that good. Yeah, like you do recommend it just for the story.
I recommend it. It depends on what you're looking for. Like the game, like I said, it borrows from history from a different time. Like it has, I remember seeing Rhino years ago, way before I knew about SMT and the game itself, and it had like different kinds of leaders, and it was pulling from a different time. So if you look at it in that light, then it'll be a great game because it's basically like opening up a textbook. Like,
Hmm.
but if you're looking for like modern things, obviously you're not gonna find that. There's some good moments, comedy moments and whatnot. But obviously it's not gonna be no voice acting. The actual gameplay mechanics are weird, to say the least. But it's not a bad looking game. I can't say it's not a bad game because I haven't played and beat it, but it's not a bad looking game at all.
Oh, those games are definitely on my radar. So if I again, I don't think I'll pick them up soon because just as you said, because of the prices, I might have to consider the PSN versions. Do they run great? The PSN versions for the PS3?
Which games are we talking about? We talking
The
about
Raito
Rainbow?
games.
Yeah, yeah. I watched my best friend play it actually.
Okay.
It runs perfectly fine.
Okay. Well, maybe I should try them. Maybe I should buy them. Hmm.
I think that's a cop for me at some
He
point.
he I should add, he did run into one freeze in the game, but I think that happens across a
Oh,
couple of Megaten games on the
yeah.
PS2. I mean on the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's what I was asking. But I played I played the Persona 3 and it was fine. It was fine for me.
yeah,
I didn't complete it because the you can't control the whole party and that's too much for me nowadays. Like
I can't.
I can't
Yeah.
exactly. I can't
no, you
anymore.
can't.
I played it back in the day and it was fine, but I played like 10 hours of FES on the PS3 and I took the PSP out of the closet and I played. I still have the PSP versions, which is cool. So I just played portable. It was a better experience overall, but I'll definitely cut those out as well at some point for sure, for sure. They look really interesting to me, so another question that I had for you guys is, I wrote a lot of questions, but one of the cool ones that
Yeah, I have one after yours.
of course, no problem. The one that I had was maybe you don't have an opinion on that yet, but I'll still ask. Project Re Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Will we see this game at Tokyo Game Show 2020?
I don't think so, honestly. I mean, I don't have anything to go off of really. I just know the title. I think I've seen a picture of a girl with red hair from the game or something like
Yeah,
that. But
with some armor.
that's basically all I know about the game. So at this point, it's like it's at the point where SMT V was from its first trailer. I think when it just said brand new title. Like we don't even know that's not the final name of the game. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And
Okay.
does Atlus
Oh, go
do
ahead.
do they usually show up at Tokyo Game Show that often? Like usually Atlus?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they do their big announcements at Tokyo Game Show. Normally, P5 was announced at Tokyo Game Show.
Well, I mean, in that case, I would expect more SMT5 stuff before Project Re Fantasy though.
But the thing is, at first I was like, oh, we're definitely seeing SMT5 at TGS, but now I'm not that sure anymore because TGS is in September. It's obviously
Yes.
a Japanese event, and Nocturne comes out the next month. So I think
Ooh.
they will want to have the attention on Nocturne. If I think if they show SMT5, it will be like another CG trailer or something like that. I was expecting gameplay, but I thought about that after the reveal that we got with the direct, and I was like, maybe they'll want to focus on Nocturne. It comes out the month after, so what a great time to just do the pull the NGX catch in full body and just give us 30 minutes of gameplay for Nocturne. That might be what ends up happening. But you know what? Why I was asking the question for Project Re Fantasy is because if we go back to January, you know that New Year wishes that they send on Twitter. Do you guys remember? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, they were saying like they were giving out their New Year wishes to their fans, and they also said look out in the upcoming year for SMT5 news. But people are tending to forget that they also said and Project Re Fantasy news as well. So they mentioned both games, and honestly, if we look at the calendar for this year, there's nothing, in my opinion, where they could talk about Project Re Fantasy except if they do their own thing. Like sometimes, you know, Atlus, they like to just like drop a stream or something and talk about their stuff. That if that happens, okay. But if we look at big events, I think it's TGS or nothing at this point. So will they talk about it this year, or will they just skip the year? That's what I was wondering for this particular game. I know that we don't know a lot about it, but if we go back to that promise that they did at the beginning of the year and we look at what's left for the year, it makes me think like, well, maybe we see something. I don't expect gameplay. I don't expect much, but I think we'll hear the name at least.
I think I could see that. I didn't even know they tweeted about it. I thought it was just SMT5 at the time.
Well,
but yeah, they got SMT5 out the way, so I mean, that'd be next on the list. And the game, it seems like an awesome idea, like a fantasy world, like similar to like I would assume like something like Dragon Quest or something like that. But it's made by Atlus, so that's dope.
Yeah, it's just a different team. So again, that's another reason why I think it's two different games. And I'm talking about SMT5 and Project Re Fantasy. From what we know, though, they will be very different. It's not the same team on the project, so I mean, why not? Why not just give us like a teaser or something, an interview, anything. New art with an interview would be enough. Just I think we might see something. I expect something from Project Re Fantasy. I expect obviously a bunch of coverage for Nocturne because it's like their last push before the release in Japan. And I expect maybe something about SMT5, but I think if we see SMT5, they don't want to take the attention off Nocturne, so I think they won't show gameplay. That's my new opinion on the subject, because I was thinking gameplay. I remember during the direct, I think I even said during the live stream, we'll see gameplay at TGS now, it's sure, but I don't know anymore. Like Nocturne is October, so.
Well, all right, so this is kind of a hot take. Does Nocturne truly need to have press time during TGS? Like, I know it's coming out, but we do know what the game looks like. We do know what happens in the game. For the majority of newer players that will be playing this game for the first time, is it really necessary to take a spot from a first-party title? What is that considered? Is Re Fantasy a first party?
Yes, it's developed internally.
Oh, right. So I personally don't think Nocturne should even take a spot for Re Fantasy, because that is such a big game that has been in development for how long now? I remember hearing about it years ago.
2017, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm putting my money that Re Fantasy is gonna have the spotlight at TGS. I haven't followed the game at all. All I remember was seeing it those years ago, but it definitely deserves it more. We know what Nocturne looks like. We've seen the trailer for Nocturne. We haven't seen the trailer for Re Fantasy. At least give us a minute of that at TGS.
You know, I agree 100% with what you said, that Nocturne doesn't necessarily need the coverage, since it's an older game and it's even if it releases the next month. But why I think it will get a coverage, and I also think it will have a big presence at TGS, is because the fact that it's an older game doesn't matter to Atlus, and we saw that with Catherine Full Body. Like they hyped it up and they said that they would be present at New Game Plus Expo, and they showed 30 minutes of gameplay for a 10-year-old game. So like they can pull off anything at this point. Like we might see Catchman full body
Yeah,
gameplay at TGS
unpredictable.
again. Yeah, exactly. So this is another reason why I think like who knows at this point they might focus the whole thing on Nocturne, because even if it's an older game, they did it a long stream for Nocturne. They showed a bunch of gameplay the day or 2 days after the direct. Like I personally, I think they'll really push it. They'll really push it. I think I think we'll see the three games. Personally, I do think that we'll see them, but I really do think that Nocturne will have a big presence at the event. But I'm glad that to hear your thoughts. I was curious about that because people don't talk enough about TGS. It seems like they don't realize how big this event is. This is like the Japanese E3. This is where the developers show their big stuff for Japanese games. So it's important to consider this event. Krischenn, I think you had a point that you wanted to bring up after this one.
Yes, that was actually a really good conversation. So give me a second.
No problem.
It was about SMT V. So let me. Yeah, definitely come back to me on that one because I can't remember it right now.
Okay, no problem. Well, I want to come back on one of the points that you we talked about before about wishes for SMT V. Now I want to talk about something that maybe they could add, or a feature that I think would be cool for SMT V that is not necessarily in an older Megaton title, but in just other JRPGs in general. It's simple, but I think it would be super cool, and I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts. The ability to see your enemies before an encounter, like Dragon Quest XI does, or like Xenoblade does. Like you can see your enemy before the battle.
On the field? Yeah.
Yeah, on the field. Yeah, exactly. How does that sound?
I mean, I definitely would hope so. Because, like, I really do not like random encounters. Like, I'm going to play through Nocturne when it comes out, but that's one of my least favorite mechanics in just RPGs generally ever. Because, I kind of want to choose my battles when I want to run away, or when I just want to just focus on something else, trying to want to get somewhere without getting interrupted every, 5 steps into an encounter or something like that. So, yeah, I agree. I definitely would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like random encounters. I'm traumatized by that kind of stuff.
I would say Atlus already perfected random encounters with SMT4 and the 4 Apocalypse, because there was data information that you did see, and it did follow you. So you knew where the enemy was, mm-hmm. and if you wanted to get out of that situation, you could just run away from it. I've outran demons many times before. Some of them have caught up to me, but, at least I know that I can get away from it. I would not want to see the enemy, however, because that defeats the purpose of having a versatile team. Because if you see a demon, you could literally just pause the game. Like imagine Flynn or Nanashi just going Dagda, or like Burrows, and just literally switching the party around before the fight even starts. That just kills the sense of urgency of, I need a team that's always ready for anything. But now I need a team to switch every time I see a demon that I can fight, right?
Yeah, sorry, I misinterpreted the question. I didn't understand. I thought you meant just seeing them on the field. I didn't know you meant see the specific demon. Oh, that's what you mean, right?
Well, just like in did you guys play Dragon Quest XI?
Yeah.
Well, just like in Dragon Quest, you see one mob, but if there are 4 in the parties, you see, for example, you see the Jack Frost. But when let's say you jump in the the demon and you start the fight, there might be a Pyrojack and a Pixie with it. So you don't necessarily know the whole party. But I still get what you're saying, and that's true, because you still want the unexpected. So it's not like in Dragon Quest where the weaknesses are not a major part of will you win the battle or not. Like in SMT, they're the top priority. If you don't care about weaknesses, you'll get wrecked. So I definitely understand that for that particular reason, it might not work.
I agree with Krischenn with the random encounter thing. Yeah, I think there should be a general design for who you're gonna go up against, like how in the SMT4 was like the blobs or whatever, the blue blob
Yeah.
things. You don't know where you're gonna go against though, so you go into battle. Yeah, because
Hmm.
if you knew what you were going against, yeah, I'd be going to burrows every
Yeah.
like 3 seconds, and
You don't
yeah,
want
I
that.
could definitely. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't want to know I'm going against.
Great point.
I can relate to that.
Again, so
And
that was a
correct
wish,
me
but
if
I
I'm
agree.
wrong.
There's some negatives to it for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. SMT4 also had like different sizes for the demons. Like you knew, maybe not. I didn't pay too
Yeah,
much attention,
yeah,
but I think yeah, there was different sizes. So similar to Persona 3 and 4, where a big shadow, you knew that that was a strong demon. At the very least, that's all I need to know. You feel me?
Yep.
And I
hmm
should know that I need to get away from that right now, rather than anything else. But yeah, I think they already perfected the way that demon encounters work. Um, I've never really had a problem with a lot of random encounters. Like I know Riku, you've had a problem with Nocturne. Honestly, and even Persona 1, which everyone says was such a bad game because of that. I think I don't know. I've never had a problem with the encounters, but I can understand how some people would have a problem. With Nocturne, you don't even know. Sometimes I've ran into 6 demons at once, or 5 demons, I think it was. And it's ridiculous because I'm sitting there and I don't even know. Like, I'm not paying attention to my health or my party. And then, bam, 2 seconds later, I take 2 steps, and now there's 6 demons of varying weaknesses and varying
yeah.
strengths, and I just have to get myself out of this situation. Like, that's insane. But SMT4 definitely did a good job of letting me know enough about my enemy before I went in.
I
Mm.
think the fact that it's random and the fact that you can't save whenever you want in Nocturne also just added to like that huge tension. Like I got to be really careful. Like I was scared running through these hallways in Shibuya and SMT, like SMT Nocturne. So all of that together, yeah, it's terrifying. I just don't want to die and lose my progress.
Strange Journey too, but luckily they fixed that redux. They allowed you to save anywhere.
I'm trying to see if that's a good thing or not because it really makes it like I
Too
can like
easy.
all the danger is gone really in SMT4. If I'm being honest, I liked it because I can progress through the story. But like whenever I have literally, and this is because the game kind of it doesn't encourage me to do it. But whenever I feel like I'm gonna get cornered by a bunch of demons, I save the game and
And
I
load
load the
it.
same file. Yeah,
Of course.
that's like the ultimate cop out. So I don't know. I don't know.
I always do that as
Same
well.
thing.
But just to go back to the random encounters, do you think if they decide to go full on random encounters and they don't pull off the SMT4 idea that they had, do you think if they add like a feature like in again I think it's Soul Hackers where you can just lower the encounter rate, would that be an option?
I wouldn't take it. I just wouldn't. I think everything that makes these games difficult is what makes it fun. I honestly looked at Strange Journey. Like I'm playing the original Strange Journey. I keep saying this because I noticed how much more I enjoy the original over the Redux because it feels like a cakewalk to play the remaster. I can any situation I can just save it. SMT4, any situation I could just save it. I think I literally just went blank and forgot the original question. What
It
was the
was
original question? Just
the
so I.
encounter rate. If they like there's certain games and I think it's Soul Hackers where you can decide to, because Soul Hackers is full on random encounters. You don't see anything
Mhm.
and it just Pokemon style. Uh, you can just say like I want 60% of encounter rate, so you'll instead of 100% you'll get 60%, so you get way less demon encounters.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. That's what makes these games gold. P1 is even in talks today because of its encounter rate. Nocturne is both loved and hated because of its encounter rate. I think games would be forgotten if you could just make them easier,
Are you
And
able to
right?
change the slider all the way down to like 10% on that game, David?
I'm not even sure if it's Soul Hackers, so I don't want to misinform you guys, but
Yeah, I
if
don't. I
Because that
didn't check, but I never seen that before.
yeah, I'm not sure, but you know what? I'll check it out. But I know that maybe it's another RP. I play too much RPGs, but
But yeah, while he's figuring that out, like I appreciate SMT4 Apocalypse because they had you could change the difficulty and make it harder. I don't know if you could make it easier, but I remember going from normal to Apocalypse just because I wanted more of a challenge. But I wouldn't really think that because a big part of these games is that we can come together and talk about how difficult the game was. Nocturne is one of those games that everyone can say, "Oh my God, this game was so difficult. I got my ass beat by Matador 10 million times." The Minotaur in SMT4 is like everyone's favorite boss because it was both, like it was hard and it was literally a tutorial boss. But if you could just change that, imagine how everyone's experience would vary, and the game would have a higher rating for some people and a lower rating for others.
Yeah,
I think that, yeah, it makes it unanimous. Like,
I
They
certainly agree. Because the Minotaur, yeah, that was it, honestly is probably my favorite boss fights in the entire game. Like just that whole experience. It took me like 2 days in real time to beat him because I just couldn't figure him out. But yeah, we wouldn't have funny videos like Sir Lionheart's like 3-part series of him trying to fight this guy if it was just a cakewalk. So yeah, I agree.
we wouldn't have memes. We wouldn't have, yeah, these games would not be as important as they are today if you
So
could
I can
change the encounter rates or the difficulty or anything like that.
Okay, I agree, and I definitely understand why you would say that, because they make, yes, they're fun, and also they it makes those fights memorable, like you're talking about the Minotaur fight. It's a good example. Like if you ask me, like, you just name a boss fight in SMT4, that's the first one that comes to mind, because it's like the one that you remember. That's the one that you had fun with, but that you also were angry at. So it makes them memorable. So I definitely understand. But do you think it's bad to give the option? That's my point, because I think SMT5 will. I think it has the potential of bringing a bunch of new people in for this title. So, is it wrong for Atlus to give those new players the option to lower the encounter rates or to lower the difficulty in general, like easy mode?
It's
Def-
not wrong. Oh, go ahead, Rico.
Okay, yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea because it, like you said, it increases accessibility. A lot of new players come in and are going to expect something like Persona, and when they
Mm-hmm.
realize how the press turn system works and how the difficulty is different than Persona, it might turn them off. But yeah, if they can make it easy for them and they could just, I want to say enjoy the story, but the story is different too. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think it's bad to have more options for difficulties, but I feel like if the default is like classic SMT, I think that's good. But if they can
Yeah,
just change it, later on, as long as the default isn't like encounter rate is at 10%, you
yeah,
never get into an encounter. You beat a Jack Frost
agreed.
and you get a billion EXP. As long as it's
Yeah.
like classic, I'm good.
Personally, I don't want them to make the game easier, but I think it's a good idea to give the option to people that just want to experience the story and to just touch a bit of the gameplay and enjoy their experience, but not having to, because we're kind of hardcore. We like to fight 42 times the Minotaur to beat the boss, but some people will drop the game when that happens. So to give the option to those people to lower the difficulty, is it bad? Personally, I think it's only another option for those players that want to experience the game in another way. If I look at, yes, exactly, Persona is a good example. I think that a bunch of people that played P5 will pick up SMT5 expecting things and expecting similar things from P5 to be in this one, which probably won't be the case. I mean, Persona 5 Royal. Did you guys play Royal?
I've seen
I
a bunch of
haven't.
games. I've seen like a bunch of things that they made easier. But yeah,
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I was at, was it? It's I would. I won't spoil anything, but before the third semester, I was level 99 already. Like, it's
Jesus
the
Christ.
yeah, it's
yeah,
the game is really easy. Like, every single fight is easy. You don't even. I'm sure that even people that haven't played any Megaton games before and jumped into this one, if they're familiar with JRPGs in general, they it's not hard at all. They would not have a problem with it. Every single fight's easy. In Vanilla P5, there was some fights that were a bit more challenging. Of course, it's not Nocturne. It's not that hard of a game, but there was a bit of challenge at least. But in Royal, it's the grappling hook. Every addition to the combat they added makes it easier. The all but not the all out attacks, but
Showtime.
the showtime, exactly. Those, like,
oh yeah,
it's crazy. Like, they make it so easy for everyone. So again, they have the option. You can pick the hard mode, but yeah, I want
Yeah.
the original package to be classic Megaton difficulty. That's for sure, and I think we can all
What I
agree on
had
that.
Right, yeah. What I had just remembered was that SMT4 did actually incorporate a way for newer players to kind of get ahead, but it only took place when you died, right? I think when you died a couple of times, Sharon, the guy who ruled the underworld, would ask you if you wanted the game to be easier, and he would change the difficulty for you. So honestly, I think once again they've already perfected a way to make the game easier for newer players, but it shouldn't take place. It shouldn't be effective immediately. It should be something where they yeah, players that are just getting mollywopped, like they have the option at the end, but they don't know they'll have the option until the game recognizes they're having a hard time. But it shouldn't be off rip. It shouldn't be P5 Royal, based
Yeah.
on what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one.
But yeah, that's something that we see in a lot of games. Like if that's been like 3 or 4 times that if the developer feels like they're to experience to enjoy their experience with the game has to be at that difficulty, they can pull that off. And this is something that we see as well in the Legend of Heroes series, where if you die like 4 times to the same battle, they will ask you, do you want to lower the difficulty for the fight? If you click yes, you do the fight, you beat it, and then it goes back to the normal difficulty. I think that's something that if SMT is a good example. If this is the type of game where without a challenge, it makes the experience less fun. And P5R was that for me. So that's a very good point. And I think that the game would benefit from that for sure. For sure. Okay, so that was a great point as well. What else can I ask you guys? Okay, let's go really off topic. How about that?
Do it.
From anything that you guys played in 2020. It doesn't have to be a 2020 release, but game of the year so far from what you played this year.
Crap, I might need to get my Switch for this one. Let me think. Let me see, because I played a lot of games this year.
It can be
Rico's
anything.
been on a roll.
It's really off topic. That's the most off topic one that I have. So
Right now, honestly, it's between PSO2 and SMT4 because those are two like games that I just really enjoy so much. But I have more hours in PSO2, so I want to say PSO2 because it's been like simply because it's been like 8 or maybe 6 or so years since it came out, and we're finally getting it. And so I think the fact that we've been waiting so long and the fact that it's finally here and just that hype. I don't know what it is. It's just that hype. I've spent so much hours just sitting around doing nothing in a game, just sitting in a lobby and just talking to people. I think that'll be my game of the year, honestly. I don't know.
nice.
Either that or SMT4.
Great picks. Both are great picks.
Seriously thinking.
I can go with my pick if you want. While you're thinking, I have a boring choice since it's an older game, but Xenoblade that I'm replaying right now on Switch. It's amazing, but I played it back in the day, so that's why I'm saying it's boring, but it's that good.
Yeah, the combat system is a little weak to me, but I know that it's world acclaimed as a great game, maybe greatest of all time. So I definitely give it the credit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like the. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Okay, well, I'm having trouble with the battle system. I'm not gonna say I hate it or anything, but like, it's just I don't know. It doesn't seem intuitive to me. I like Xenoblade 2's more. I don't know something about it. It's not clicking with me. It's why I only have. I mean, me and David talked about it the other day. I only have like 20 hours in the game, but I'm just stuck. I can't beat this certain boss, and it's just like I gotta really take time to dig into the combat for me to really appreciate the game's story.
It's okay. I the type of combat that the game has, I can definitely and easily understand why it's not for everyone. And it's the same thing for the other games. Like it's really specific, and there's a lot to do at the same time, and it's not for everyone. It's not like I don't know why I'm always bringing up this game for during this podcast, but Dragon Quest XI S, that's so traditional. Like it works with everyone. This type of combat, like it's simple, it's great, and it's proven to be a good system. But when they try anything new, especially something like Xenoblade, where you don't have that system anywhere else, it's not for everyone for sure. And this is something that we see for a bunch of people. I've heard some people say like, oh, the story was cool, and then the character, the world design, all of that is really cool, but the combat, I can't do it. And it's understandable. I get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really want to continue in the story, and I really want to experience more of like what's going on because I'm loving it so far. It's really good, but I just can't get past that battle system. And it's like when I get stuck, and I'm playing on casual too, so that makes it even worse because it's like you just know I'm just terrible at the game at this point. But I don't know. I'm trying to position myself to do specific moves, and my party members they just die. And here's the thing I really can't stand during a boss fight. Whenever I'm low on health, you know, there's this division mechanic
Yeah.
and where it just like it pauses the screen and shows you an attack that's gonna kill you before it happens. It happens to me like every 5 seconds, and it just frustrates me. It's just like, why does it keep showing me these visions? You know, I can't. I don't know. I'm gonna beat the game because I beat two, and I feel like I need to beat this one, but it might take me some time. Not to mention I'm playing SMT Apocalypse as well, so.
And you went straight from 4 right into Apocalypse. That's cool.
Yeah, straight from 4 straight to Apocalypse. Yep.
You're a real one. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah, and I've did my, you know well, I was about to tell you guys that I did a video on what got us into SMT. Did you guys know that? But if you've read the comments for this one, there's been a bunch of people that, well, a bunch. There's been a few that said that they started with Apocalypse, which was so weird to me. I was like, what? That's like it's the number 2, like. No, you don't start with number 2. But hey,
no, they was a
yeah,
game, right?
I don't know. Well, but some people liked it a lot, and they played 4 after. But it's, I don't know, when I start like a series that I'm not familiar with, I try to find D1. But that might be because I'm more, you know, I like, obviously I'm a collector. I have a bunch of older systems hooked up, so for me it's not a problem if the first game is on the PS2. I'll just plug in the color cables and I'll just play with my PS2. So for me it's not a problem. But for a game like this where both games are in the same console, I would have picked number 1.
I would think with that. My fault. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would start with 4 because, well, first off, obviously it came out first, but the 4 already had good mechanics, but 4 Apocalypse improved on it in a lot of ways. So if you start with Apocalypse and you go back to 4, it's like you're gonna be missing some things, even though both of them are still great. Like the new like quality of life stuff in Apocalypse, I really enjoy it. And then you go back to 4, it's like, oh, it's different. But then again, I think the story is better, so there's that.
And the map is way better. So imagine that going back to SMT4's map.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The map for me, when I played it the first time, I was like, that's not so cool.
David, the fact that Apocalypse does come with like a recap in the document, so it does kind of tell you what happened in the first game, and I could see that being the reason. Like I played Yakuza 6 way before I played Yakuza 0, just because in the beginning of the game they basically recap a lot. Like I was playing the demo, and even the demo recapped a lot, so it made it easy to just jump in wherever I wanted to.
It's funny that you mentioned Yakuza because this is exactly the series that I had in mind. They're really good with their recaps. Like I recently replayed Kiwami 2. And the recap at the beginning of the game, they did it in a perfect way. Like you get to choose if you want what you want to know about the previous games. Like you don't have to listen through the whole thing. If someone just plays the game for gameplay and not story, which would be weird since the story in Yakuza is amazing, but that's that's something else. But it's like the recap is so well executed that I can definitely see someone just jumping right in Kiwami 2. He wants the beautiful graphics, the Dragon Engine. They jump right into the second game, and they have that recap that is really well done. Like you don't have to play through all the other titles if you don't feel like it. I forgot about that, but yeah, that's an option as well, for sure.
I need to get into Yakuza because I've seen my roommate play like pretty much all of them. And one of the scenes, it was like, I'm not gonna say what happens, but it was the ending of, I think it was the Song of Life. I almost started crying. I don't even know the game. I almost cried, dude. And I was like,
man, those games are. Hashtag go Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, those games are amazing.
Fun, so I gotta play it.
Play 0.
6 looks good to you. Kiwami 2 is gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. But for me, it's 0's. The story was something else. I really liked it, and the fact that you can play with Kiryu and Goro as well was really cool.
And then you had like the different styles too, which was absolutely sick.
Yeah, exactly. Those games are, you should definitely check them out if you feel like it. Again, I don't think they're for everyone. Like I've had some people tell me, I I spoke with Kuro from the Midnight Channel, which was on the video with us as well, and he said that he tried the series and it's not for him. Like, he doesn't like the combat system. Like, he's excited for 7 because it's turn-based, and he'll check that one out. But yeah, that will be cool. But the combat system that we had from 0 to 6, he's like, nah, I don't really like that particular type of combat system, which I can understand. Again, it's not for everyone. So Krischenn, you have any picks that came up for Game of the Year? We went a bit off topic again. But
Yeah, I have a big problem with playing. Like I said, I love classic games, and I play games from really way back. And there's see, I want to pick one game though. That's the problem. Let me see.
Well, you can pick 2 if
I
you
wanted
want.
it to be an RPG. Like, I'm trying to keep it consistent with this conversation.
Well,
But I played a lot of games, with friends, and I was just trying out games that I didn't get to play as a kid, like games on the GameCube and whatnot. I was trying out Metroid. I've played a couple. So anyway, the game that I've been playing a lot this year, it was a Japanese only game. It's a Naruto game. It was for the GameCube. It's called Gekita Ninja Tyson 4. It's Clash of Ninja 4, but it was never brought to the USA. I fell in love with that game this year. I've been playing that game with my friend like basically all year. He's come over every week, and we just play all night, all weekend. I love it, man.
Those games, man. Oh, for me, I've never played the other ones like 3 and 4 since they were not localized, but Clash of Ninja 2 is my game. Like, for me, this is the best Naruto game for me, and
fun. That is the best.
I still have my own copy for this one, which is super cool. So yeah, those games are really good. Great, very good pick. Those games, I played so much of them. Like, did you play 2, the second one?
Revolution, yes, back when I was younger.
Okay, but the one on GameCube, did you play the one on GameCube?
I didn't play the first 3 on the game. Oh, I played the third one on the GameCube.
Okay, well, the second one on the GameCube is the one that I played the most of, and the way that it works, and you can tell me if it's the same for the Wii ones, but this one, it's like you get there's like a classic mode, which is like the story mode. It goes to the right from the beginning to the fight with Orochimaru on the top of the during the exam.
Yeah, it skims through really fast.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super quick, but this is the classic mode. You play through that classic mode, you gain coins, and then with the coins you can buy new characters. This is how this one works. When you play versus matches, you also get coins, and you get to buy new characters. But the second game has a bunch of characters, while the first one doesn't. And we had to grind to get the last character, which it was Sasuke with the Sharingan highs, and he was like,
wow,
it was like 200,000 yen or something like that. It was so expensive that we had to grind matches to, like, my friend would leave his controller there, I would destroy him to get the money, and then we'd just restart to be able to get the character. So I'm sure that I still have him on the memory card if I can find it. So, but that was just a quick story then.
That's crazy. I remember that from. I played Revolution 2 and 3 like 6 years ago. That's definitely how it went. When you did battles, you earned coins, and you had to go to the store and unlock them. However, for the ones that didn't come over, Gekita Ninja Tyson 3 and 4, you actually unlocked them by doing a mission mode. So you had to finish like 10 missions and 30 missions in this specific battle mode, and then you can unlock them that way. I definitely prefer getting coins because it's quicker, but hey.
Yeah, well, on the second game, like, yeah, it's quicker, but the characters were super expensive. Like, I'm not kidding. You had to grind. I know. So it was, normally it's quicker, but the top tier characters, they were expensive. I do remember them being super expensive. Hey, we have a question that I think is cool, that I want to have you guys' opinion on it. I keep talking about that on the channel, but I want to hear you guys' take on it. But question, this is from Super Gamer Guy 64. Do you think it's possible that the Switch could be the ultimate platform for Atlus games, considering we now have Katrin, Persona 5, Scramble, SMT3 Nocturne HD, and SMT 5? And what titles do you still want on the platform to make it perfect? So 2 questions in one.
Hmm. Really, to be honest, I don't know because like Persona has always been. I mean, I'm not gonna say it can't change, but Persona has always been PlayStation, and people would buy a PS5 expecting like Persona 6 or something. I think like, and for the most part, isn't like most of Atlus games usually Nintendo anyway, except for Persona for the most part, if I recall correctly. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's about right.
So I mean, are they already the ultimate? I'm joking. No, they're not. They're not. They're not there yet. But I mean, I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer.
What do you mean? You don't
I
want
think
mainline Persona on Switch? Huh.
I
Unsub,
mean, it's
dislike, break free
possible,
Persona.
I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen.
Hmm.
my take on it kind of attacks the Switch in a way, so don't take it personally. But I think anything can come to the Switch because it can. Uh, well, any game can do it, but with consoles like PS5 and Xbox and all that, and everything else, there's a standard of quality. And with the Switch, what it's become lately is more a console that, if I wanted to throw let me see. Let's name a big budget game. If I want to throw God of War, right, the latest one on the Switch, I could do that. I would just have to severely limit the graphical fidelity of the game and call it a God of War port. And because of that versatility and that opportunity, the Switch can make anything as long as they cut corners. However, on any other system, Persona 6 on PS5 has to be like graphically insane, whereas the Switch doesn't have to be insane. It just has to be playable, has to be enjoyable. So they can make any game on any Megaten game moving forward on the Switch, and I'd actually appreciate that because seeing how all these ports have been coming out, they haven't been bad ports. They've had rough starts, a couple of issues, but in the long run, they're beloved on the Switch, and I don't think there would be anything wrong with making more games on the Switch or continuing the future of SMT and Persona on the Switch.
That that segment where you talked about and you gave the example for God of War is facts. This is exactly
Yeah.
what people have to understand. Like, and this is something that what you just said. I don't know if you guys know them, but I really like a podcast, the Nate D8 podcast.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I watch this stuff.
yeah, so his podcast is really good, and they had one episode where they said basically exactly what you just said, Christian. Every single game, and they had the example which is very similar to God of War, but they took FF7 remake as an example. FF7 remake runs on Unreal Engine 4. Unreal Engine 4 is supported on Switch. With the investment of time and money, the game can run on Switch. But do the developers at Square want to, first of all, invest that time and money, and second of all, have their game with those beautiful graphics on PS4 and with those standards for this title that are there, and to port it on Switch and to have the game look way worse? Because let's be honest, this is not a catchment full body. This is a high budget, beautiful, highly like intense graphically speaking. So they would have to downgrade it a lot, and sometimes it's not even a question of money. It's a question of, is it up to their standards if they want the game to run on Switch? Like, there's a game that they talked about as well on the podcast, and it was they gave an example where the developer said, we thought about bringing the game to the console, but when we started and we looked at how it would look as a final result, it was not good enough for us. So we decided to scrap it and to not port the game because it's not how we envisioned it initially. So
I like that.
this is, I 100% agree with what you said. It is exactly the, I don't really know if it's a problem, but this is exactly the thing that people have to understand. Even if the game can run on Switch, at what cost? So this is what people don't consider. It's not
because there's
like
there's
this.
some nasty looking ports on the Switch. I don't know if you guys have seen Ark Survival Evolved, but that is regarded as
No,
one
I
of
haven't.
the
I'm
ugliest Switch games ever. I'm telling you.
I bet.
Jesus.
I'm talking less than like 200, almost 200p or something in the resolution thing. I'm like,
Wasn't
what
that-
was it even worth it at that point? I mean, nobody's gonna buy that. I
Exactly.
don't know.
But wasn't that the game that was already trash on PS4? Like
Yeah,
that
it
was.
already had performance issues and everything like that. So it's like,
Jeez,
how are we?
wow.
What a great
Switch?
idea to bring it on a lower system when it comes to performance. Like, come on, like it's if the game is running super well on, like, there's some titles that I'm looking in my camera, I can see my shelf, so this is why I'm always bringing up the example from my shelf, but I can see Yakuza 0 right here, and this one is a game that would run, I'm sure would run super well on the Switch. This was the older engine for Yakuza. Yakuza 0 was, if you don't know, was on the PS3 in Japan. That was a game that was released on PS3 and PS4 in Japan, but only PS4 here in the West. Well, this game could run on Switch, and I'm sure that Sega would think they would be able to make the game run perfectly fine on Switch, like a game like Catherine, for example. So this is a good example. While the other game right next to it, Final Fantasy VII Remake, would probably be possible, but would take a long time to make. And we're not even talking about cartridge size here. Like, they did have to buy the 32 gigabytes cartridge. How expensive would that be? How many cells would they get from a FF7 remake that looks like a PS2 game on Switch? Like,
Right.
and I'm not a graphics person, just as you, Krischenn. My GameCube is still plugged in, and I play it very often, so I don't mind. And this is why, if a game is multi-platform, if I can buy it on Switch, unless it's way worse, I will buy it on Switch, because the portability aspect for me is worth way more than like 60 FPS. If the game is stable 30, I'll pick it up on Switch. Persona 5 Scramble is an example that I can give. I played both demos. Yeah, it runs at 60 on PS4, but it's stable 30 on Switch, and the resolution's a bit lower. I'm fine with that. I'd rather have 30 FPS fixed, like a good 30 FPS that doesn't drop, with lower resolution, and be able to just lay down in the bed and play the game, than to be stuck in my couch and have it 60. Like, I'm not too much of a performance person, at least when it runs good. Even Xenoblade, it had like the controversy with the resolution. And for me, yeah, I can see it. But the people that are complaining haven't played the Wii game. Like, that's like, it's still beautiful. Yeah, it's not. I would have expected something a bit more from a Switch game, but it's still beautiful. And for me, it doesn't ruin the experience. The story is still great. The gameplay is still great. So it's still a good game, even if the resolution's a bit lower. But hey, that's my opinion, and I know that I have a controversial opinion on that, because people are looking a lot at graphics nowadays.
Yeah, I understand that. With Xenoblade, dock mode to me looks fine to me, perfect. But it's just the handheld that's like where the issues is. And yeah, I will play it in handheld mode for the most part for like grinding and stuff like that. But honestly, like when I'm at like a story section, if I'm not near a TV, I'll just pause the game and I'll just like wait till I can get to a TV so I can like watch the cutscene, because in my opinion, it looks that much better playing on a TV than on handheld. But it's not like a deal breaker for him. Plus, I can't play that game anywhere else, so there's also that. But I mean, yeah.
Well, for people, it is.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
someone in the chat mentioned it. So Xenoblade is 540p. So yeah, it's low. It's really low. But does that make it a bad game? No,
Definitely not.
exactly. So that's the thing. Since it's just a game for Switch, it's even better. But if again, I'm sorry, I always take the same example. But if we put Final Fantasy VII Remake on Switch, and the game is like 4K, or I don't even know how it is on PS4 Pro and stuff like that, but it's probably super beautiful. If you bring it to Switch, after a lot of efforts and money, it will be way less. So people will put it, you will have those Digital Foundry videos where you'll see the PS4 Pro and you'll see the Switch. So people will say good, garbage. So developers don't want to do that, and it's understandable. It really is understandable. So unless they can bring a port that, yes, you can see a bit of downgrades, but it's still looking good, like Doom, for example, why not? Exactly. Yes, if you put them side to side, you'll see the differences, but it runs pretty well. It's pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah.
A bit not as much as the PS4 version, but it still looks pretty. People will buy it for the portability aspect only, but for a game like God of War, it won't work. So that's the thing with the Switch.
Yeah.
The
I think
Outer
what we're
Worlds.
explore is like the ability to move your save files from the Switch to like another console. I think that would really like make it seem more appealing. Like you're not playing it just on an ugly version. You could, well, I don't want to say ugly, but you know what I mean. Not as beautiful as like the PS4. I'm talking like Final Fantasy VII Remake, assuming it can even run. But if it was like cross save with PS4, I could see that being an incentive. I would probably buy it on Switch, but other than that, probably not.
I think Final Fantasy VII Remake would be the type of game that would suffer from a big downgrade, like more than a game like Doom. I think. I'm not a developer. I don't have
There's
any
a lot of
knowledge.
sparks in that game.
There is
A lot of sparks.
and I played it on a. I don't have a PS4 Pro. I just have a standard PS4, and it drops at certain times. And we know that the Switch is not as powerful as the PS4, so I think this is one of the games that would suffer a bit from a port. I think
Yeah, I'll definitely be getting it on the One X next year though.
it
Whenever
will.
like the exclusivity ends.
You have an Xbox One X?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. I don't.
I
I
bought
don't.
it
Power.
literally only for PSO2.
Oh yeah, for real, for sure, for sure. It's not. It's only. I'm not familiar with the series. It's an Xbox exclusive, right?
Yeah, I guess
Xbox
it's timed
PC?
exclusive for now, which
Okay.
I think is really weird considering how well it's in the West, but Fantasy Star, not PlayStation. I don't know, but whatever. It got me to buy an Xbox, so I guess they got their.
It worked.
That was their. Plan,
Exactly. What was the game on Switch for is it like it's oh no, I'm mistaken. It's not Fantasy Star. It's Sword Art Online. I'm mistaken.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
my bad. Okay. Well, I think Xbox wants to. That's another topic, but I think Xbox wants to gain a bit of that market from Japan, since they
I'm
were lacking.
surprised
So.
to see Dragon Quest finally hit the system. Like I was really surprised for
Oof,
that.
this is something that we can talk about as well. Did you guys know that it will be the Switch version that will be ported to PS4 and to Xbox?
Yes, I looked into that and I was like, oh, okay.
People are mad.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
How does
yes.
that work?
Well,
All right.
like it's not the it's not the PS4 version with the upgrades. It's the Switch version
Oh,
ported
with
to
the enhancements.
exactly. So people are like, okay, so if I have the original Dragon Quest and I buy Dragon Quest 11S, the definitive edition, it will look worse than the original game. And then now Square is like, no, it will look as good, but everyone's a bit like, I'm not sure about that one. So
I've seen a side by side comparison, and I mean, unless something else is going on, I can basically tell that yeah, it's using a Switch assets because like I don't know how they built the game, but I guess the extra content was I guess with the Switch version, and I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna look like an upscaled Switch game basically. So it's a little unfortunate because I mean. I have an Xbox One X. I like to play it in 4K, but then it's gonna look like the Switch version in 4K, whereas the PS4 version looks amazing actually, like the grass effects, the shading, and the shadows and all that. But hey, I don't know.
but
I think
this is,
I've never seen a game be ported like that before. That's really weird.
I don't think there's been one from what I know. Like, but this is another game that was a PS4 game that is now on Switch that looks really well. This is a big game and it looks really good on Switch. I played through the whole game and it's beautiful. It's really gorgeous and it runs well at all times. So that was a great port, in my opinion. So yeah, we I think we answered a bunch of the questions that I had. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about when it comes to Megaton, SMT5. I had a big list, but we a bunch of you, when you guys brought out some questions, those were the questions that I had. So we answered, like I have my list and I was just deleting them one by one, and I don't have that many anymore. So we did a good summary from what I wanted what I wanted us to tackle. So do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I actually I would like to know what you guys like most hype thing is like. Well, we already talked about that, but like, what's the next thing you'd like to see in SMT? For me personally, it'd be like the battle system and like the battle theme and all that. That's what I want to see next.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That and, like,
Gameplay.
exploration.
We need to see gameplay, like anything
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point. This is the next step. Like another, like this one, we all reacted to it. Like another CG trailer after 3 years was enough. Was all right. I think a few people I've watched their reaction were a bit disappointed that there was no gameplay. In the RLE comes to mind. His video, he said like, "Oh, I was glad to see the game, but I think I thought now was the time to see gameplay." For me personally, I thought that it was, since it's been 3 years, I was hyped enough just for a trailer. But I think, yeah, now the next one they need to show gameplay. I think I have to agree.
I honestly, I want to see other characters. I think it's been lonely. These trailers have been lonely, man. The first one had nobody. The second one had two, and then the third one somehow somebody died. It was gone now. So like, I just want to see supporting characters. I want to see a more lively cast. Like, I know they're trying to set up the stage and whatnot, the atmosphere, but at this point, it's like, SMT4 came when they first started their trailers. Yeah, it was dark and dreary, but as it went on, you had like bad example, Persona 5. Persona 5 first came out and it was all like spooky and cool and mischievous, and then you had all these happy characters start showing up, and they had character trailers and stuff like that. That's kind of what I want to see. I want to see characters get shown in full-on trailers, but I know it's not the same because they're not going to interact the same way. But I just want to know who else is going to be around the protagonist.
You don't want social links?
I mean, they have to have more
SMT5?
people. Yeah, because they're in the school, so they're going to need other characters around. Which is actually something I want to ask you guys. What do you guys think about the return of school kids, like actual students? Considering the trailer had, like, obviously the protagonists were in school kids. Also in the trailer, they were in the station with a bunch of other students. So that means that majority of the cast might also be students from the same school. So what do you guys think about that? And it hasn't been that way since, well, for me, it was really like Persona or whatnot, but at SMT, it also had the same situation going on. So for SMT, it's been a long time. What do you guys think about that?
I actually I really like that idea. I really do. It kind of reminds me of like the original novel, how they said it was like about, what was it called? Digital Devil Story. How it was about a school kid who learned how to summon demon or something like that. That's what that reminds me of. But I don't know. I like that. You had the samurai in SMT4, and just wasn't the guy in SMT3? Wasn't he like a? Wait, I don't know.
He was a student. Yeah, he was a high school kid.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea.
I think they were like upcoming graduation or something like that.
Yeah, the whole cast being from like a school, and that's dope. I like that.
For me, it's an interesting question, because if you asked the same thing for Persona 6, I would have said no, I'm tired of the school setting. But again, for SMT, it's not as common, the school setting, and also, as I mentioned previously, I have a lot of confidence when it comes to SMT, and I'm sure that they'll be able to pull off something really unique even with this setting again. So no, for this game, I don't mind. I can't say that I'm excited for this setting particularly, but again, I think they'll do something unique with it, and I think in the end it will work. So I'm not worried at all. But hey, yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Like, I want to see where they'll go with it. For now, that's my I don't have any expectations basically for that. But
for sure.
Yeah, if it was Persona 6, I did a video on Persona 6, just one, because I wanted to just start discussing it a bit, and I was like, I want something different, but don't ask me what I want. Like, I don't know, but I want something different, but I don't know what they could do. I just want them to be unique. Like SMT4 was really refreshing, like the samurai and all of that. That was really cool, and I really appreciate it. And that's what attracted me from this game. It was the way that it was presented. It was so different than anything else. It was not your typical Ys game or Dragon Quest game, and it was not that Persona, Legend of Heroes, and stuff like that. It's something else, and this is what I liked. So depending on how they tackle the school setting, it could be really cool, as it could be not that cool. But again, it's the SMT team, and I'm not worried at all for that. So that would be my answer.
Good outlook to have.
Sorry?
For sure. No, I'm saying that was a good outlook to have.
Okay.
Not really have too many expectations. Because it can turn out to be more like Persona-esque, which is I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather not have no expectations when I look at the uniform than like think about Persona or think about like, well, Persona really, because they're the only series that we can compare it to. So
Yeah, exactly. It's anyways. I think they won't really add too much Persona elements in SMT, and I hope they won't add too many personal elements. I was kidding. I was asking if you guys want to see social links in SMT, and
no,
definitely not. But
I'm good.
yeah, if they add some elements, there might be some things that I wouldn't mind, but like something as major as that, you know that it comes with a lot of things. The social
Yeah.
links, like oh
I'll
the,
stick to
the
my demon social links.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, the community and the Persona community is great. There's a lot to talk about, but we see some weird stuff, but hey,
Hey,
it
we
is what it
covered a
is.
lot of ground like so far. We're great, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's been like every day has been such a thrill because I just been looking at the trailer and trying to find new things to compare. And today, having spoke about other games that I didn't even think about when I was looking at the trailers, and now it kind of gives me this big hope because, like I said in the beginning, we really have no idea what the next trailer is gonna be. It can be as extreme as P5's first trailer, where you're getting like gameplay out that I don't think it was the first, maybe the second, but when they showed off a lot of gameplay and you saw the students and you saw the school setting and you saw all this stuff. Now it's like there's I don't even know if there's nothing, there's no rubric. The sky is the limit, or if not, there is no limit. And the next trailer is going to be, it can be anything, but it's going to be absolutely crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now
Oh,
that we know what to hype up, what we want, we know what to look out for, and I think Atlas, like, I hope that Atlas looks at videos from Megaton creators as well and just kind of gets an idea of what everyone wants. Because with the whole
Mm-hmm.
survey thing that they did, finding out that they actually looked at that
It's
and
crazy.
made an action based upon it, I hope they're also looking at the way we talk about the games and what we want most in these games. They need to have a survey for that. Like, what mechanics would you want in the next Megaton game? But that's what we just did here. So hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Atlas at some point looks around for information and finds us and finds all the other creators and does something with this information. Because if the next game has everything that we talked about today, it's gonna be a perfect game. A fucking perfect game, dude. I'm all in for that.
The thing that I'll remember about what we discussed, the thing that stands out for me as a wish for the game is it's that mechanic that you brought up for soul hackers. I really like that mechanic and I forgot about it, which seems seems weird, but yeah, it would be so cool to have like the personality system with the demons.
Oh,
This is
dude,
something
yeah.
that I would really like to have in the next game. It's like cool. It's a cool addition, but it's not too major to bother other fans. Like when I talked about to add the grid based system from Double Survivor, that's something that I don't think they would do because it's too big of a change. But this feels likely, and this would be really cool. I think so.
Yeah,
Here's your
it's an
social
enhanced
links.
negotiation system.
Hey, what? Sorry.
It's an enhanced and
Yeah.
ongoing negotiation system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not
Exactly.
like breaking new water, but it's breaking new ground. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awesome.
Yeah, that would be an addition that I would like. So hopefully they're watching right now and they're taking notes from us.
Somebody.
West employees watching or something.
Yeah, exactly. That girl that wants us to make our voices heard, like, here you go. So hey, I think we wrapped it up pretty well, guys. It was super fun to discuss everything about SMT 5. So obviously we're hyped. We can't wait for additional information, and you can be certain that the three of us will probably cover all of that once we have new information. So you guys have anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
I think I'm good. I can't think of anything at the moment.
No, I was just gonna recommend. I was just gonna recommend anyone that watches this to definitely get into the Shin Megami Tensei series. But I think we have a pretty well thought out video on that. That we all recommend several different games. So we've done that, and there's a place to go if you want to know what games to play. It's right here on the channel. So
Exactly,
yeah.
and both those guys make as well awesome content. If you guys want to check them out, I add their links in the description so you guys can check them out. Again, as you just said, Krischenn, those games are amazing, and we can't recommend them enough. So you guys should definitely go check them out. The eShop's about to close as well, so go pick them up. They're cheap. If you want them physical, open the wallet. They're expensive, it seems like. But
Yeah.
digitally
Yeah.
they're easy to buy. So PS3 as well, we talked about it, that the games are running pretty well and they are cheap as well, so you guys should definitely go check them out. So yeah, I hope you guys liked it, and we will probably do more episodes of the podcast if you guys liked it. And if you both of you guys want to come again, it was super fun to discuss SMT, so I would definitely be glad to have you on. And thank you very much, guys, for
Sure.
being here.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you for having me, man. This was fun.
Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone that was there, and we will see you guys in another one.